like some of the Supreme Court updates with that intoxicate. Did I tell you, were you there when we did the intoxication case stuff
Um,
for the
oh my
Supreme
God.
Court?
I don't know. I asked you about it, but I don't know if we did it.
I did it on stream.
And
I don't know if you were there that night. No, I can't remember.
I
Um,
don't remember it either. I just remember I asked you about it initially,
okay. Well,
and
there was
I
an
was like,
update because I
sitting
think they
there.
tabled it, so I don't like. I know they voted on it and then it
Mhm.
didn't, but I that's why I was confused because I was like, I get why they stopped it, or I get why they like did it because like in the first place, 'cause a lot of people were pissed off. But it's like no, it was actually like unconstitutional. I just don't think if it had ever been like put into practice before, where someone tried to use it and then like claimed that it was unconstitutional. So now it finally went through. It's like oh yeah, this actually probably is unconstitutional, even though it's like a shitty ruling. It sucks, but like there needs to be like
Mhm.
legislation to fix it, not like a case law to fix it. But now they said they are tabling it. Liberals respond to the SEC extreme intoxication. Is that what it is? Mm, that lighting is not great. Okay, there we go.
Are you still orange?
No, it's much better. Go look at my Twitch. It looks way better.
Okay, hold on. Why doesn't it give me a
Everything's
notification that
gray.
people?
Everything's the right colors now. It actually looks pretty good.
That's not the right person. That's like Ultras, who's also on right now. Oh, that looks great. How did you fix it?
I switched my old light bulb for an LED light bulb.
Okay, yeah,
So now I
for
have like a
sure.
big. So I don't turn that light on during the day anymore because I hate LED lights. But it's great for
Hmm.
streaming. So I have an LED light on my light bulb, and then I turn my desk because I like this background better. But I don't know if I want to have to turn my desk every time I stream. So I guess well, actually I'm kind of
I
close to
don't
the stream, so
know. The
it'll be.
setup looks really cute though.
Yeah, right. It's I like it, and you can see all my plants in the background. I want to be able to see all of that, but I don't know how I'm gonna fix that. So that's fine. I'll figure that out later. My wire isn't big enough,
Um,
long enough to move from
this,
my outlet to like if I move my desk any further. So I was like, it's fine. We'll leave it for today. We're just trying it. It's a test setup. I could sit more this way, but I feel like I'm
listening
like
to
off on
you
the edge of
talking,
this.
it doesn't sound that bad.
It doesn't sound that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, sick, great. As long as it's not that bad, as long as it's clear enough to listen to, we're okay. Um.
Yeah,
Oh
like I wouldn't be distracted by it.
Okay, actually, I do have to move this way because I need something to be able to show this. Now we gotta move this over here. Oh, hi, Andrew. How's it going? I feel like you haven't been on stream for like so long. How's it going? What's up? How's it been? I've changed. I bought a camera. I finally got like yeah a proper camera, not a webcam, so my quality's a lot better. I've changed my stream background. I've like turned my desk. So my desk used to be on this wall, and I was like, I want a better background, so I have like my plants, my paintings, and my sword all in the background now. No more lag. Oh yeah, yeah. And I got a new light. My lighting the other stream was terrible because I got a new camera, but then I had shit lighting, and so everything was green for a whole stream. And now nothing's green, so I think we finally got it figured out. The only thing is my mic quality has gone down, and I don't know why, but that's tomorrow's problem. So it's good enough to be able to stream. But yeah, so
Yeah, it looks
lot has
so
happened.
clear with the new light, dude.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, you can like, and I don't look okay. Like with the other lighting, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, exactly. With the other lighting, my skin looked so much worse, and now my lighting, like my skin doesn't look as bad anymore. So, because I'm like, I got the new camera, and I was like, oh, my skin looks so bad because you can see everything. Like my webcam, you can't see shit on my face. But now, like with the new webcam, if I have like acne or anything, you can see it really clearly. But with this lighting, it's like it's washing me out enough to like not look terrible. But yeah, so lots has happened. It's been a while, but we everything's kind of fixed now. Kind of. We're getting there. We're learning. Okay, I gotta pull up a few things. So I'm gonna turn this off for a second while I pull stuff up. Anyway, yeah, we're doing updates on the case that I covered like I think 2 or 3 weeks ago I covered it. With the Canadian Supreme Court Intoxication case. So basically, we have one of our like our defense. Oh, hello, contortionist B. How's it going? We're covering stuff. It's a new stream. Hopefully, a better one than last time. But yeah, basically, there was a case a little while ago with our Supreme Court where someone tried to use the defense of intoxication for a violent crime. And in our criminal code, the defense of intoxication can only be applied to non-violent crimes. But what happened is someone tried to use the defense for a violent crime. I'm pretty sure it was assault or sexual assault. I'm pretty sure it was sexual assault. The guy tried to use the defense of like severe intoxication. And the courts tried to say no, and then they argued that it was unconstitutional for them to not be able to use the intoxication defense for even violent crime. And then the Supreme Court, I think, actually ruled in favor of that person, saying like, yeah, you're right. It actually is unconstitutional for you not to be able to use that defense. So now it's getting into weird territories because a lot of people are upset about this ruling. It seems like the liberals are fighting back, who are our leading party, like our party that's in power right now, are apparently not super happy with this Supreme Court decision. So we're going to be going over some of that stuff and like what are the updates on it, because I just saw it on the news crawl the other day that it was like, oh, this isn't a settled matter apparently, because even though the Supreme Court ruled on it, it seems like it's... But, I mean, if the liberals are so fucking mad about it, then they should be at least pushing for legislation to amend this issue rather than pushing for the courts to amend the issue. Because, like, the courts can only base their like, our law from the courts can only be based on case law, which means it has to go by, like, what's on the books. And it can only be interpretations of what's already on the books, not, like, you can't create new law out of case law. Whereas, like, legislation, if they want to, like, hey, amend this and make it better and be like, oh, this is like a loophole in our system, then like you should be pushing for legislation to amend that. But whatever, liberals can just bitch and moan all they want, I guess. They don't ever do anything while they have power, so. Anyway, that's like the recap. Very quick. Liberals only bitch and moan. Honestly, well, at least the Canadian Liberal Party, yeah. Wouldn't the judge be more linear since the person wasn't in his full... You mean lenient? So rule of law is what it is in the USA. Okay, so it's rule of law. So like what? Okay, but that's the same as in Canada. So basically, what case law is you can have rulings based on, you could like on what comes out of the courts, but the courts can't make random decisions on their own. It can't be arbitrary. It can't be stuff that they want to push. It has to be based on like laws that already exist. So it can be different interpretations of law or different interpretations of what's already on the books. However, they can't just create new law. So like case law is based on precedent or like creates precedent, but like it still has to be based on like something that's already in law, right? Whereas like if you want like new laws, if you want something that actually fundamentally changes the system, you need to do legislation for that, right? Like case law only takes you so far. Oh, I might have actually read your comment wrong. I don't know why I said that as like case law. I read that as cable. I'm sorry, Cornhole Wallace. I'm pretty sure that's not what you actually meant. I just realized. My bad. Reading comprehension is not all there. Where are my glasses? Oh, fuck. Okay. I have like a tiny dinosaur that's also doing my lighting right now. And he keeps changing color. So. And he turned off. And I just have to tap him until he goes back to the right color. There we go. Okay, he's back on the right color. Slap the dino pad dino. Okay, you know what's funny? If I yell loud enough, because if you hit, like, it's supposed to be, like, you hit it to change the color. But if I scream loud enough at it, it changes color. And I don't know why. But if you yell loud enough in my room at it, he'll change color. I don't know why. Weird design. I don't know if it's, like, it changes the pressure around him enough that it changes his color, but I guess that's what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Canada and US are different courts, so it's confusing. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure case law across the US and Canada works very similarly because it's usually just based on like court precedent. And I'm pretty sure in the States it's the same as Canada, where your highest court, no matter what, will always set the highest precedent. So like if one state rules one way on a case and and then the Supreme Court rules differently, if another state has a similar case, they would go by the Supreme Court ruling, not the other state's ruling. Stare decisis, yeah. But I'm pretty sure, because that's how it goes in Canada, at least. Like if you have like a decision that happens in Alberta, and then the Supreme Court rules differently, and then like you have a decision made in BC, or you have a similar case come into play in BC, they would go by the Supreme Court. And I think I'm pretty sure, like case law is relatively similar how it works throughout North America, I think. I don't know enough about the American system. I try to know a little bit more while I'm talking about it. legal systems are hard when it comes to like actually interpreting like or figuring out how like court systems work. It's very complex. It's a lot of it's like one thing that even like here like I love law and stuff like that and it's like one of the things that I like super enjoy. But like following court stuff is like super hard sometimes. It took me a good couple of semesters. Does Canada have three? Yeah, like the judicial are executive and legislative. Yeah, that's all the same. Except ours work differently. So we have like an executive, legislative, and judicial branch. But in the States, your executive and legislative work against each other, whereas in Canada, they work together. And there's like pros and cons with both systems. Ours is parliamentary, your guys' is presidential. Okay, look at me. I can see again. Let's see. As basic English common law rules are built on precedent, but the court above you and outrank unless it's solely on limited scopes, courts such as provincial or state based. I thought I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure in Europe, counties and stuff are. Oh, okay. I'm echoing on Michelle. Hold on.
Oh,
One second. I think. Oh no, it stopped. Okay, we're good. English being the key form. Yeah, but I think I could be wrong, but I remember hearing it. I think in parts of Europe, or not parts of Europe. Sorry, even in parts of. Oh, maybe it's not England. I can't remember. I feel like I learned this in one of my classes, and now I forget everything I learned. That's good. I don't care about European law, though. No one cares about Europe. Europe is out.
okay.
Fuck the Europeans. Fuck the British. Just kidding.
You can say fuck the British.
I can say fuck the
Because,
British. I'm Indian. We can say fuck the British. That's allowed. Yeah.
I could say like fuck the French, but the French fucked us first.
True. But I do say fuck the French because I hate Quebec. They're only there because of the
Bro, okay, I don't understand with Quebec. Quebec tries to be like we're French, but then French people are like, what the fuck is Quebecois?
Quebecois.
Like they don't
It's
want
ugly
like
French.
they're just like they shit on like the Quebecois, like people in France.
I was supposed to. I have a dare that I have to hold through on, and I forgot to set it up. Wait. Okay, I need paper. Ed's gonna come in here and kill me. We need paper and we need a pencil. This is a Poppy Ed support. Oh shit, support stream. I made some promises to some people. We gotta fix this. We gotta amend. We gotta amend before Ed shows up and realizes that I did not hold through on some of this. I forgot to set it up. I forgot. Fuck me. I've made a promise to a whole other chat that is not mine. All right, let's go. Okay, while we're sitting here, British fucked the whole world. Honestly, how it be. English being Europe isn't English. You can say it because they fucked first. Not France is still fucking the third world. Honestly, true. I mean, doesn't France have like some of the most debts owed to them from like all the like third world countries? Like they like refuse to like default on any of the debts that like a lot of like third world poor countries like owe them. I'm pretty sure that's like a huge thing.
Like all of Africa.
All of Africa, and I think parts of like South America, it's like similar, or like not South America, maybe like I can't remember. This is something I learned about in like some political class I took. All right, Oh no, this pen is dying. All right, there we go. We love Poppy Ed. That's going right up in the background. Get it? No, that's not gonna work. I gotta put it somewhere you can actually see it. Oh no! Oh no! How am I gonna do this? I need tape. I have tape in the other room. Fuck me. Okay, so I got a DM on. Sorry, this is like an off tangent story we're gonna talk about. I got a DM on Instagram earlier where a guy asked me, "Do you accept sugar slaves?" And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And before I even had a chance to ask, he's like, "It's a relationship without any commitment, so I'll never interfere in your personal life if you date someone or have a boyfriend. You can keep me private in your life. I can clean your house, your car, laundry, shopping, groceries, do many things for you, drive you around whenever you want, sometimes give you money, body, head, or feet massage, and lots of other things." And I was like, "I have a boyfriend. He's asking if he can get massages too." And this guy's like, "Yeah, I don't mind, queen." And I was like, "Oh shit." My God. Oh, he's asking for money now. God damn it, bro. How
Bro,
lame. How lame.
I'm
Anyway,
not trying to pay you.
okay. Now I gotta get this sign up somehow. Yeah, right? I thought this was like a free thing. I thought he was just offering. Then I might have taken him up on it. No, I'm kidding. Probably not, because I don't trust anybody. Let me color in the sign so you can actually see it from a distance. Otherwise, I'm gonna get fucking flagged by Ed's viewers for not following through, and they're never gonna have me back on. Play Truth or Dare again. I can't believe I played Truth or Drink. Made some bad decisions, but you know, it's fine. I wasn't drunk even, so I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, Jesus. Oh! Damn, he's sending me a whole, like, list of, like, possible, like, shit. Damn, I love being a woman on Instagram. People just, like, give you shit. Pop quiz, because streamers are so pro that they can leave the stream hanging. How many countries weren't colonized? How many countries? I don't think, is there any country that's never been colonized? I'm pretty sure every country has probably in some point in history been colonized by somebody. It had to have been. 7. Oh, okay, there is 7. Okay. I figured it had to be something really low. I figured there aren't very many countries that at some point weren't colonized by somebody.
Thailand is like the golden child of non-colonization.
Talon's coming in with the like full ass trivia tonight. Wait, what are the? Do you know what the 7 are, or do you don't just know there's 7 of them? Because otherwise, I want to know. Wait, did you say Thailand, Michelle?
Yeah. There's an agreement for no countries to not touch Thailand
Interesting. That's kind of fun. That's
or
kind of
something like that.
okay. There we go. No. Oh, okay. There we go. Holding through on my dare promises. Are you gonna be able to see that from back there? Oh, it's inverted. Oh no! I'm such a dumb fuck. Oh well. That sucks, because I'm not flipping my camera around because I look ugly the other way, so it's just gonna be people can ask about it. Hopefully, if people can't figure out what it says, that's not my problem anymore. I'm not putting more effort into this. Sorry. Got my student. Oh! I thought I lost my student ID. It's in there. Yep. Look at that. Oh shit, stop turning on. Japan. Wait, Japan's never been colonized?
Japan went to everyone and fucked them, like literally fucked them. Yeah,
True. You're not wrong.
Japan was like,
How did Japan rebrand so well? Because Japan like has done some horrific shit in the past, and now they're like known as like the really like peaceful people, like peaceful like nice people. And but it's like y'all have done the most horrific shit. How the fuck did y'all rebrand so well?
And then they're like, let's go to China, let's go to everywhere, and then they got pushed back.
Interesting. Thailand, Ethiopia. That one also surprises me. Iran, Afghanistan, Nepal, and Bhutan. I don't know what that last one is. I actually don't know where that is. The rest of these I know. Iran and Afghanistan. Yeah, I guess I've been in war. I know Afghanistan hasn't because no one can beat this shit. Like, every empire has tried to invade Afghanistan at some point, and they all get kicked out. Like, I don't know what it is. Afghanistan fucks shit up. Okay, I mean, it makes sense.
But the US is trying to fuck Afghanistan up, but
No, but that's the thing. It's like every place that has ever invaded and like tried to go to war with Afghanistan just fucking loses. No one beats
hmm
Afghanistan. I don't know what it is. Okay, I'm also gonna go get a piece of tape so I can put this up, and you guys can. Oh, let me get some music going here, and then I will put that up, and then we'll do it. Um, Give me 1 second here. Let's find some music. Let's find some free background music that won't get me into trouble. There we go. And then we'll put this up so I don't get in trouble. Yeah, Mongols devastated the Afghanis and ruled for generations. Yeah, but they weren't like, were they? Oh, maybe I'm just not up to date on my history. Maybe. There we go. Okay, cool. They got nuked. I think that was enough punishment, and they, along with other countries like Germany, signed treaties. And it's also USA imperialism converting Japan and Germany into democratic country, all a part of Roosevelt imperialistic plans. Oh, was that in reference to my question about how Japan rebranded? They got nuked, and that was punishment enough, probably. And they, along with other, yeah, that's like the thing is they were like super after like all the fuck shit they did, they were super peaceful, but they did like a number on China. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna put this sign up before I get in trouble.
And Korea. They had some shit in Korea too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll get back to the legal stuff once I put this sign up. Give me 1 second. Okay, the sign's up. Am I gonna cover it if I lean back? Probably, but am I gonna move it now? Probably not. No, actually, no, I don't cover it. We're good. Okay. It's so small. I wish I would have written it bigger, but I don't have any other pens either. Oh well, it happens. I tried my best. Okay, I can pull this back up now. Anyway, uh, get this set back. What is my second podcast set? Oh, it's that. Okay, yeah, no, that's for other things. That was when I was doing a different podcast. Also, I had early signs of like TMJ for a while, and I finally got that under control. So my jaw no longer clicks. Like my jaw would click anytime I bit into like anything like big. If I had to like try to bite an apple or like a piece of like pineapple. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Oh,
How
thank you
did you
for
fix
rating.
this?
What? I started doing
How
okay, so
did
my dad had it when he was younger, and he's like, "Oh, I went to this doctor and he gave me these jaw exercises, and it like completely fixed my jaw." I've been doing it for like 2.5 weeks, and my jaw like no longer clicks. I can brush my teeth without pain. Um, so my jaw is no longer completely fucked up. Um,
nice?
it's great. Hello, Blade. Hello, everyone else. Welcome. It's there. Okay, it's there. I did it. It says we love Poppy Ed, but it's so. I don't have bigger pens. I'm sorry. It's also inverted. And I didn't realize until after I wrote it that it would be inverted on camera. Hi, guys. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I finally fixed my jaw problems. So I don't, like, have a clicking jaw. But the secondary side effect is, like, my face is finally even. This jaw used to be, like, up here, and, like, my face was just completely round, and I couldn't figure out why my face was so, like, not symmetrical. And now I realize it was just 'cause, like, one of my jaw, like, my jaw on this side just sat, like, way up here. And now it doesn't. So we fixed one health problem I have. We will fix the rest of my health issues in good time. But I refuse to ever go to a doctor. So, you know, it'd be like that. Oh, how's it going, guys? Have you praised Brady? We'll get to that maybe eventually, possibly. Doubt it, but maybe. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, that's right. Okay, the Supreme Court decision. Jesus Christ, maybe. Look, we appreciate Ed. I held through on one. You have no shame. It's not that I don't have shame. It's that I'm required to be nice to Brady, and that doesn't sound like my thing. So I already said, okay, this is hard for me. Anyway, okay. The federal Liberals tabled a bill Friday that seeks to eliminate the self-induced extreme intoxication as legal defense for violent crimes, after the Supreme Court struck down a similar provision in May. Bill C-28, introduced by Justice Minister David Lametti, would add new language to the criminal code that creates the criminal liability when a person who commits a violent crime is in a state of negligent, self-induced extreme intoxication. So basically I want to know what these drunken escapades are. Okay, we were on a psychiatrist, that is Ed, and that is the name up there. That's Poppy Ed. We were just playing Truth or Drink, or Truth or Dare, but with drinking. And then I got dared to basically put that sign up on my next stream, and then the other dare was that I had to be nice to Brady and praise him randomly throughout the stream. So well, it's, it happened. It was a thing. Anyway, you can go watch that stream on Ed's channel on Psychiatrist. He's in here. He's super cool. We love his streams. He's awesome. But you guys should definitely go sub or follow him and sub to him. He's a great guy. Anyway, so what the old language of I'm pretty sure in the criminal code, it states that this is a person, like, you can't use this for a violent crime. I'm pretty sure that's always been the rule in the criminal code, is that you can't actually use self-induced intoxication to an extreme degree as a defense for any type of violent crime, but you can use it for non-violent crimes. But basically what happened is, in this case in the Supreme Court, is a guy tried to use it. It was deemed unconstitutional that he couldn't use it for even though he committed a violent crime. It was like a sexual assault. And they realized that, like, oh, this is unconstitutional if we don't allow people who do violent crimes to also not use it. Have you discussed recent U.S. takes of friendshoring and potential all-West tax unification? I have not, but I will look into it because that sounds like something that's very interesting. But economics is also not my strong suit, so I don't want to talk about shit that I don't know much about, but I can try. I will look into it. I will try to look into that. Anyway, so that is pretty much what happened, and I think it seems like self-induced. Okay, so the Liberals tabled a bill Friday that seeks to eliminate self-induced extreme intoxication as a legal defense for violent crimes after the Supreme Court struck down a similar provision in May. So they already tried to push this through before, and the Supreme Court struck it down because it was unconstitutional. Because basically what happens is, in the case where you don't allow like a certain defense for people who are committing violent crime, if you are self-induced intoxication also is not just like anyone who's intoxicated can't be charged for a crime. You have to be intoxicated to the point that you cannot control any of your. Oh, thank you for the follow, Miss Torture. Oh God, I just read that up. Oh, see, okay, I didn't even touch it. If you talk loud enough, this thing changes color. I just have to yell at it, and then it changes color. Anyway, that's a weird thing. I don't know why it does that. Right, okay, so I was talking about, wait, what was it? So yeah, so self-induced intoxication is used in extreme cases where people have drunk, like, are intoxicated, whether it be by drugs or alcohol, to a point that they can't control their own body, and they don't have, like, any control over what they do. So it has to be like an extreme case of intoxication, which is very hard to prove, so it doesn't get used very often already. But the old ruling also, I think in the criminal code before any of this happened, was that it couldn't be used for violent crimes. And then basically, I think the Supreme Court ruled on a case where it now allowed it to be used for violent crimes, and now the legislation is trying to push through that it shouldn't be able to use for violent crime through legislation, and the Supreme Court is pushing back on it. So I think that's what's going on. I'm pretty sure. It's a very complicated set of events, and I haven't like completely kept up with it, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. But the problem with not allowing this for violent crimes, and the reason that they're considering it unconstitutional, is for something to be a criminal offense, you need, I don't know if everyone knows what actus reus is and the mens rea. So actus reus is like the actual action of something illegal, and the mens rea is the criminal intent, so the criminal mind. So you need to be able to be charged with a criminal offense, you need to have both of those things established. You have to have you've obviously had to do the action, so whatever the criminal action was, and you would have to have the proper intent to do that action. And so what the argument is in a case where you are beyond your wits drunk, you don't actually have that like ability to have criminal intent because you actually can't have the proper processing in your brain to have criminal intent when you're doing something. So the problem is like if you do a violent crime, you don't actually have the criminal intent, which means you shouldn't be able to prove a criminal charge. And so by saying that they can't use that defense, you're actually going against the Constitution because now you're trying to prove that they, even though they lacked criminal intent, they could still be charged with something. But now you're not charging for a criminal. You're not charging for the original crime they committed. So if you commit like a crime, that's like a violent crime. So let's say you assault somebody, but you're extremely drunk. Well, now you're not charging them for the criminal intent. You're charging them for being drunk, which isn't illegal. It's not illegal to be that drunk. So, but you're basically having to charge on them being that drunk because you can't charge on the original crime because they don't have the criminal intent because they were so drunk. Sorry, that's like a really, it's long-winded, but that's pretty much what it is like it becomes unconstitutional because you're now charging on something that isn't a chargeable offense because you can't charge on the original thing they did. Anyway, but like for legislation to be able to like basically put through a something that goes to be able to like legislate this now, you would have to basically put in a like you would have to legislate that like getting drunk to a certain extent is illegal, or if you commit a crime when you're drunk to a violent crime when you're drunk to a certain extent is illegal. But now the problem with that is now you're kind of almost making it illegal to get a certain level of drunk, so it gets into weird territory because if you start to legislate on that, now it's like, are you making it illegal to get that drunk? Are you making it illegal to commit a crime when you're that drunk? Like you start to get into weird territory, especially constitutionally, which is why this is such a weird case to rule on and why it's caused so much like uproar between people. Oops. Sorry, that was a really long-winded way to go through all that. My bad. I tend to ramble a little bit. I stream really late, so. Anyway, for a person to be found liable of their actions under the drafted update of section 33.1 in the code, prosecutors would need to establish that they were criminally negligent. Oh, so yeah, okay, that's how I guess they're trying to get around it, is criminally negligent. So you're negligent in the way that you consume alcohol, I assume, and you're like, your negligence in getting that drunk and would cause you to, now you've committed a crime, so you were negligent with your own behavior, and now you've committed a crime, so that's what I guess they're trying to charge on. It seems like that's, okay. Let's keep reading and then we'll figure it out. The court would need to consider whether a reasonable person in that situation could have foreseen the risk that ingesting intoxicating substance could cause extreme intoxication and lead the person to harm another person. The specific circumstance of the case would factor into the analysis, such as the substance itself and the quantity that was consumed, the person's state of mind at the time, anything they may have done to mitigate such a risk. Extreme intoxication is defined in the bill as intoxication that renders the person unaware or incapable of consciously controlling their behavior. It is not a presumed defense, meaning that the test would only apply if a defendant specifically raises it. This has only ever happened a handful of times. So yeah, this is like not a very commonly used defense just because it is so hard to prove. Because once you're in court, it's really hard to prove that you were drunk enough to be out of your wits. And unless you can, like, you took a drug test the next day that showed you had like vast amounts of like fucking cocaine and ecstasy in your blood and that you were like drunk on your, like, yeah, it's a super hard thing to prove, especially like if you don't get a drug test or something right away. It would apply to so also the reason this was so contentious, I don't know, I think I slightly mentioned this, but because this thing was ruled on a sexual assault case, so a guy brought it, like basically got charged with, or like got charged with sexual assault. And when he went to court, he used the intoxication defense, and that's why people were so mad, because they're like, oh, you're basically letting him off of a sexual assault for being drunk. And that was like the really contentious part, is people were like, oh, this is like gonna hurt women, this is gonna hurt children, people who like, you know, are abused by their husbands when they get drunk are gonna be able to like get off. And I'm like, no, because this is such a hard defense to prove and it very rarely gets used. I don't think it would actually affect most cases where people are drunk and commit crimes. It like the vast majority of cases, because it is so hard to prove, you wouldn't be able to use it in court most times. But in this case, I think the guy had evidence that he was drunk to that extent, or he was like drugged to that. I think he had multiple types of drugs in his system, and he was able to prove that. And it seemed like anyone having that level of drugs in their system probably would be out of their wits. Yeah, but that's why this is like such a contentious story and why I like covered it all those week back, like I think like 3 or 4 weeks back when like this situation first came to light. Yeah. Okay. I'm rambling a lot. My bad, guys. Okay, let's keep going with the article. It would not apply to the vast majority of cases where drugs or alcohol involved, and almost never in situations where only alcohol was consumed. So yeah, exactly. So people who are just drinking, it's not probably going to use. I'm going to turn this a little bit this way so you can see me better. This is not about being really drunk or really high. You repeated several times. Being drunk or high is not a defense for committing criminal acts like sexual assault. The Liberal Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth told reporters the government has been increasingly concerned about online misinformation, suggesting that the recent Supreme Court decision meant that being drunk could be a defense for sexual assault. Yeah, this is like what I kept seeing online, and it really fucking pissed me off because I'm like, none of you know anything about law. Please stop talking about it. But basically, everyone was running with a story that's saying like, oh, basically it's legal to rape or legal to like beat someone if you're drunk now, and it's like, not what that means at all. Not even close to what that means. No, you're wrong. But like, no one wanted to read into this. I think everyone saw like, and this is also a problem with like news articles and stuff. They'll make the head title, like the titles of their articles, really like clickbaity, obviously, and so people read those titles of like, man gets off of rape charges for being drunk, and it's like, that's not what happened. This dude had like copious amounts of drugs in his system, and that's why he got off, because he was like absolutely like high out of his fucking like beyond belief, like, right? And I think he was able to prove that. Hello? Oh, okay, I thought someone joined the Discord. My bad. She cited social media posts with hundreds of thousands of likes and views, including one that suggests rape is now legal if you're intoxicated. I think this is the actual post that I originally saw that made me be like, wait, what? And then I obviously read the story and I was like, oh, okay, that person is just stupid beyond belief. But that's fine. I expect it. Like, guys, if I can give you one piece of advice, every time you read something on social media, especially like those little like things, like little informational graphics that people post on social media with like, oh, like this is what's happening. Don't believe any of them, ever. Go research and read the full article. Go find the headline that they're posting in those like little stupid infographics on Instagram and actually read the full article. Because like the biggest problem is like people perpetuate lies and misinformation based on like article titles, and that's what I see all the time online is like people just constantly like post these article headlines and be like, look, it's what's happening, look how bad the world has gotten. And it's like you read the full article and it's actually not as, sometimes it is bad, it's not great. Like I don't agree, like this decision sucks because I don't know if it should ever be a defense to like criminally, like to assault somebody and get off because you were under the influence, because it's like there probably should be some personal responsibility. But also from a legal perspective, I understand why it's so hard to like legislate around these things, because you have to legislate like, is it illegal to get that intoxicated, is it illegal to miss certain drugs? Like you get into weird territory, but no one wants to like think that far. They just want to say like the really catchiest thing, which is like, oh, this shouldn't be a defense to rape. And it's like, no, it shouldn't be. But like when it comes to legal stuff, you have to make sure everything is like kind of aligned. Otherwise you start making weird legislation that gets into like shady territory of like, are you legislating that people can't consume alcohol? Especially like, what about like people's difference limits? How do you legislate around that? Anyway, get into weird territory. Oh, Michelle, do you have any questions? I'm sorry, you've just been like chilling here listening.
No, I'm just listening. It's good. It's fine. It's fun.
It's a good time.
I'm
Uh,
just looking at makeup, honestly.
anyway, Lametti said one of the motivations for closing the gap in the law so quickly was to address some of the rising fear and confusion around the decision, which seemed like what it was is like, it seems like the legislator and like the Supreme Court got so much pushback from public outcry because again, nobody knew actually what was going on in this case. That the like liberals started to push for like legislation really quickly because people were getting on their asses about being like, oh, you're like making it legal to rape now. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening. But now they're like trying to push for certain legislation because they're under a lot of public pressure because no one knows what's going on, which super sucks. You don't want someone to think, oh, I can have a few drinks and do whatever the blank I want. He quipped, in its unanimous May ruling, the Supreme Court made it clear that being drunk will never get someone off the hook for a violent crime. Justice Nicholas Cassier, I can't read names, I'm sorry, I'm butchering that, wrote in the decision that under the previous wording of Section 33.1, convicting someone for how they behave in a state of automatism or when they are too intoxicated to stay in control of themselves violates principles of fundamental justice, which, yeah, again, that goes against our basic stuff of like mens rea versus actus reus. You have to commit the act and you have to have the criminal mind to commit the act. So if you're drunk beyond your mind's wits, you don't really have that criminal intent, which makes it super, super hard to prove that they committed a crime under, and like you kind of violate constitutional issues there. I'm back. Had to get food, but also say, yo, did you do anything to your camera? Because you look great. Yeah, I fixed my lighting situation, and that pretty much fixed a lot of it. I also changed like my setup a little bit. Did I look better than I did on Discord the other day? Even maybe it's the lighting is better over here. I think the lighting is better because it's like reflecting a little bit better. But thank you. Anyway, let's see. The wording had been added by the Liberal government of, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that, 1995 in response to the 1994 Supreme Court decision that acquitted a man of sexual assault because he was blackout drunk at the time of the offense. But it failed the constitutional test because a person could be convicted without prosecution having to prove that they acted voluntarily or that they ever intended to commit a crime, even though guilty action and a guilty mind must ordinarily be present for someone to be found criminally responsible. Yeah, so obviously this has failed multiple times, and Liberals are now still trying to push a bill or legislation through to amend this like loophole. It's not really a loophole because, again, even the people on the Supreme Court were saying like this actual defense has only been used a handful of times in history because it is so hard to prove. And it's very uncommon that someone is like to that level of like intoxicated and then still committing a crime. So like the two factors, like this actual defense has only been used a couple of times. But again, the fact that Liberals are like now falling to pressure of like the public outcry, which is like baseless outcry because no one actually knows what the story is or what's going on in the story or what the legislation is or what our legal precedent is. But the Liberals are falling basically to like this public outcry of like people saying like, oh, we need to legislate over this because now you're like creating loopholes for people to like rape when they're drunk. And it's like, that will never be legal. That's not how this ruling works at all, but that's fine. But the fact that now you're trying to like legislate around it and like create legislation that is like completely unconstitutional, which is why our Supreme Court keeps throwing out the legislation that the Liberals put forward, just kind of shows you that this is like a really, really hard issue to like kind of toe around. Yeah. The court suggested Parliament could enact new legislation to update the language of the criminal code in such a way that extremely intoxicated people could still be held accountable for their violent crimes. And this is like kind of the hard part is like, how do you do this in a constitutional manner? And I think there are ways to do it, and I would want to go over that on stream. I would probably write something out that could like maybe, but then you could also like probably analyze any like any law that I could like possibly like come up with and like write on my own. You could probably poke a lot of holes in. Excuse me. But yeah, there's like, this is a super hard matter. So let's see. There's a point of agreement here, and I hope we can move forward. NDP Justice Randall Garrison said the statement that his party will push to have the bill passed quickly. The Conservatives say they are still reviewing the legislation. That's normal. You have your opposition party that's reviewing everything and seeing if it is good. This new bill comes just over a month after the SEC ruling. The bill itself is a brief, totaling 5 pages, moving to provide for criminal liability for violent crimes of general intent committed by a person while in a state of negligence, self-induced extreme intoxication. So yeah, you're probably going to have to write the legislation that if you are negligently self-inducing your intoxication and then commit a crime, that's the illegal part. Whereas like, but the wording can get really funny if like, because how much of that is like now just making it illegal to get that intoxicated? How much you actually like, what if you haven't actually committed a crime, but you're just that intoxicated and you might potentially commit a crime? You get into weird territory. Law is very, very complex because you have to like word everything just right to like not have it mean something that it's not, but also leave it open enough for general interpretation in a court of law. So it's weird territory. This bill is really weird territory. It's like a shitty territory because like I think anytime you try to like defend the Supreme Court ruling, and I remember I think the last time I talked about this on stream, people got like I had a couple people in my chat who were like, yeah, but like doesn't this just make it like okay that like what if someone just got like super like wasted and like took some drugs and then went and committed crimes? And it's like, yeah, but like if you get to the point that you're like that intoxicated, like how you're out of your capacities, like you would have to be out of your capacities. Even if you plan to get that drunk and high and commit a crime, the planning part would mean the intent, and then you could actually be charged as a regular crime, especially if you're still within your wits when you're that drunk or high, and then still commit a crime. Like you wouldn't be able to use this defense because they'd be able to prove criminal intent. Anyway, it's a hard thing to do. But yeah, that's pretty much the update on this, is that the Liberals are now trying to respond to the Supreme Court case that happened just a little while ago and are pushing for bills on it. And I guess we'll see where I probably will give you guys an update in another 2 weeks to see where this bill ends up. But yeah, that's, okay, nice. In 45 minutes, there is a flying bug in my room. I dislike you. Please go away. Don't touch me. Okay, sorry, my bad. I'm not super scared of bugs, but I don't like things flying around my room when I'm sitting in here. Not a fan of that. It's like a daddy long legs thing. But okay, cool, great, love that. Let's see. At a higher level, only thing I can think of is ignore the intoxication aspect since it comes to a person's choice to get that point unless someone's drugged them. But then that make it feel uneasy for every time I make terrible drunk decisions. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, so again, even if you were just drunk and made bad decisions, you could still easily be charged for like a criminal charge if you do something like that's like a criminal offense. The problem is like for people who are like, you basically have to be like drunk on cocaine and ecstasy all at the same time for this like defense to work. And again, like it gets to the point where like you start having to like word the legislation in a way that it doesn't criminalize just getting intoxicated to that point and only criminalizes the like criminal behavior while that at that level of intoxicated. But now you're also working around the Constitution of like having to like ignore mens rea and say you had because your intent at that point was your intent was to get that intoxicated, not commit the crime. So you're having to base your intent part, like the mens rea of the criminal charge, on the intent to get that drunk and not the mens rea to commit a crime. So that's like the hard part because your mens rea, like in a typical criminal charge case or a criminal offense case, right? You're charging on like the intent to commit that crime and the action of committing that crime. But now you have a disconnect in the cases like this where you're charging on the act of the crime, but you're charging on the intent to get drunk. Does that make sense? Like you're charging on you have to charge on kind of two separate levels with a legislative piece like that, and that becomes like where it becomes super weird. I think that's a better way to explain it is like for regular criminal case, your intent and your intent and your action fall in line on the same action or on the same like event. Whereas like for this type of case is like your action was criminal, but your intent was only to oh my god, hello. Your intent was only to get to like be intoxicated. But now you have to like charge based on like getting intoxicated, which makes it kind of illegal to get intoxicated because you're charging on the intent to get intoxicated. So you're kind of like covertly almost charging as an offense being intoxicated, which right now is obviously why the Supreme Court is throwing out this decision because it's unconstitutional to do that. But yeah, so that's kind of all the update is for this. Okay. Now, Michelle, are you still here? Hello? Oh, she left. Okay. Oh, wait, she's still on the call. She's just gone. I think she just pieced out for a bit. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if anyone else has thoughts on this because it's kind of a weird case. It's hard to like. Part of me hates the fact that this even has to be a discussion because it sucks that there's ever a point where you could probably like do something pretty heinous, like rape somebody and get off of it, even if like you're out of your wits mind. But again, like the legal aspect to me, it makes a lot of sense where I'm like, you would never want to charge someone for something they like did not have any intention. Like if someone is like mentally ill to the point that they can't control what they do, it becomes really hard to charge them because it's like, well, they don't have the intent to like do these things. They don't even have the mind or capacity to understand that these things are wrong. So you can't really charge them on that because it's like, if they don't have the understanding to like know what's wrong and right, then if they do something, then you can't really like say that they had a criminal intent. So I don't know, this decision has become a little bit difficult for me to make a decision on, but that's just like the actual criminal part of it. Okay, stop turning on. Oh god, that's bright. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay. Now the second topic I want to cover. What else did I want to cover? I had stuff written down. Give me a second. I put stuff in the title and there was other stuff that I did not put in the title because the title just had my two big stories. Oh no, I lost the note where I put stuff down. Oh good, I covered up my notes that had all of my actual things and I think I deleted them and put Ed's dares in it. So thank you, Ed, for ruining my stream. Tail. Oh, stupid. Okay. Is there anything you guys want me to cover? Is there anything that's like come up recently, like legally, or I feel like there's something that happened. I feel like there's bills that came up, but maybe we'll just move on to the other topics that are more conversational because there's a lot of you here right now. And I want Michelle to come back so I can kind of talk to her about this. But there's something that I've noticed on social media, and it's a phenomenon that's kind of been going on for a while. And I saw another couple of streamers point this out as well. But it feels like right now we are okay, and I want to know what the ethics, how you guys feel ethically about doing this. But I noticed a phenomenon on Twitter and social media in general, like TikTok and all these type of platforms, where someone will share their experience or their story of something happening, and people will jump into the comment section and be like, "Oh, you were a victim." And that stuff has gotten really weird to me. Like, I remember seeing a TikTok or like a video on some platform where this girl was like, me at 18 dating like this 26-year-old guy or whatever, and like I don't know, she was just talking about like how like fun it was to like date this like, he might not even been 26, he might have been like 24 or 25. But she was just talking about like just like these joking around, like kind of like haha, like you like paid for everything. But then like people in the comment section will be like, "Oh girl, you're a victim." And I'm like, hold on. I don't know how I feel about this people being so comfortable to go into like other people's like social media platforms and them telling their experience, and us saying like, "Oh, you were a victim, this should be like reported and stuff." Because it's like, if someone doesn't feel like a victim in a situation, an adult dating an adult makes you a victim. Yeah, but like I guess like because people also, oh, the over demonization of age gaps, um that's like another part of this. So like on one side we're like calling people like, we're okay ascribing a victim status to people who don't necessarily claim it, and that's something super weird that I've noticed is like someone will tell their experience or even sexual experiences, like specifically, no, it's not even specifically for dating. It's like, well, a lot of it comes down to dating because I think that's like where people are super hyper inflammatory about their rhetoric. But like, okay, so yeah, there's like stories where girls will talk about like bad sexual encounters that they've had, like just they weren't rape or like they don't consider them rape or sexual assault, but it was just like awkward encounters or like not good encounters, like it was just bad sex or whatever. And people will be in their comment section like, "Girl, that was rape. Like if you didn't want it, that was rape." And it's like, hold on, if this person doesn't feel like they were raped, why are you getting to go into their comment section and be like, "You were raped"? That feels like a really weird thing to me to do, or weird thing to do to me. Like, I see it all the time where like, again, people are just telling like, you know, normal bad sexual interaction stories or whatever, and it's like, "Oh, like I hooked up with this guy and it was just really bad, like it wasn't good or whatever." And then people are like, "Oh, like if you didn't want it or if you didn't enjoy it and stuff like that, like that's not enthusiastic consent, that's like rape now." And it's like, who are you to tell someone that they were raped if they don't feel like they were raped? Like if they felt like totally fine after the situation. Because I understand that there's people who like go through something like that's like sexually traumatic and then like repress it and refuse to call it rape because they're like, oh, they don't want to accept that they've been raped. But there's also people who just go through like awkward sexual encounters and then are like, "Oh, it's kind of weird," or kind of whatever. It just wasn't a good like hookup or whatever. And then people will start calling like, "Oh, girl, you were victimized," or "Girl, that was rape, like you should be reporting this, like he shouldn't have done that to you." And it's like, I don't know about all that, Chief. I don't know about that one. That I don't know if anyone else has seen this or if this is just me because I'm on those parts of like those political parts of like, or like those like type of TikToks or Instagrams or whatever, and I see it more because I'm on like certain accounts, and I'm like, let's not do that to people. Let's not tell people that like their sexual encounters were rape, especially if they don't feel like it was like anything like rape or sexual assault. That's super weird. Yeah, like what? Man, that's some weird chant there, but I feel like I've seen it, but I feel like I've seen it, but I don't do social media. Yeah. I feel like fuck, it might be younger people who see this more. It's just a super weird thing and I don't know how to feel about it. But I thought maybe some of you guys, especially people from like Ed Stream, might be like more social, like psychologically able to like understand this, like be like, is this like a normal like, because I don't, okay, also it's like it's a different thing if it's your friend. Like if you go through something weird, like if you go through like a bad sexual encounter or like an awkward sexual encounter and you tell your friend and they're like, "Girl, are you okay after that?" Or like, you know, "Did you like feel okay? Like are you fine?" Like that's a normal thing to do. But when it comes to like people on the internet and you're like just someone in someone's random comment section and being like, "Oh girl, you were raped." It's like you don't know this person. You don't know how they felt about it. They're just telling you a funny story on the internet. Don't go tell people that they were a victim of something if they weren't. Or like, yeah, like it's kind of happens with like hate crime stuff too, where like people will tell um their situations of like stuff that's happened to them like in the workplace or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, that's harassment," or "That's like workplace assault," or like, "Oh, that was racism, like you didn't get that job because it was like they were probably racist," or whatever. Like, stop assuming everyone's situation is like the most malicious situation in the world. And I feel like this happens so much online. And people are really comfortable doing it and like ascribing like the most malicious intent to like really basic situations that probably most people go through. I've had this combo with a couple of adults. Really? Oh, I know you have work tomorrow, but if you want to come on, I actually really want to talk about this. It's kind of fun. Or not fun, but interesting. Interesting, not fun. That might not be the word for this. Um, yeah, you probably have. I don't know if you have work, but if you'd want to come on and chat for a little bit before you have to go to bed, I'd be down to have you on. Um, Fuck. Yeah, and then like I think the someone brought up one of you said something about the age gap thing. Where was it? Um, an adult dating an adult. Oh yeah, it makes you a victim. So this is the other thing. It's like people are now demonizing any type of age gap, especially like for people, even people over 18. Like a girl who was like 18 and then like went out with like a 26-year-old, or like a 26 to 28-year-old, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a big age gap. It's kind of weird, but to like assume that every age gap situation is like an abusive situation, again, feels really weird to me. Because I was someone who was like 18 once. Oh, obviously, we were all 18. Well, some of you probably aren't. Some of you might be younger than me. I have no idea. I was 18 once, and I went out with a 24-year-old. So we were like 5.5 years apart, maybe four. I can't remember. It was either 4.5 or 5.5 years apart. And it was like this weird thing of like people around me thought it was kind of weird. They're like, girl, bad decision. And I was like, but like, for me, it wasn't that weird because like we worked together. We were in the same place in life. We were in a very similar situation. We met through work. So it's not like he knew I was 18. He wasn't like approaching me because I was 18. Like there's times where like a person who's like maybe 30 can approach an 18-year-old for like the wrong reasons. But I don't think every person who's like a little bit older, like where there's a big age gap and they approach that person, is necessarily like a predator. Because like if the person's over 18, like if you're 21 and a 35-year-old hits on you, it's a little weird, but like it's not necessarily predatory. And I feel like we're really, really quick to ascribe that really now. Anytime we see an age gap, like anytime you see like an age gap in any relationship, people are like, oh, that's weird. Like, oh, but like, why is he going for someone so much younger? Why is she going for someone so much younger? It's like, dude, if they're an adult, first of all, like, I don't know if that's any of your business. Like, sure, there's potential for abuse because of the age gap, but not every age gap relationship is abuse. The big thing I talked about was like bad sex is an assault. Not every encounter you have will be amazing, and people try and say that bad sex means their partner wasn't attuned and pressed themselves on them, so bad equals bad sex. Yeah. Okay, I've also noticed this where it's like every like if it's a bad sexual encounter, all of a sudden now it's like it's not just a bad sexual encounter, that's sexual assault, and it's like, oh fuck, no, let's not do this because not everyone's gonna be perfect into bed. Not everyone's gonna be perfect in bed. If you're hooking up with someone, that person doesn't know you well enough to make all the right decisions in that sexual encounter. Because when you meet someone, you don't know them well enough. And like, so that first sexual encounter is probably going to be like a little bit of trial and error. There's going to be things that like might happen that you're like, ooh, I wasn't comfortable with that. And as long as they don't press you to keep going and like they respect your boundaries if you say stop or if you like obviously recoil from certain things, as long as they're like kind of like understanding of that. And also, I will say it here, if you are a girl or guy and you are doing casual hookups with people, like people that you just meet, and you are unable to express your boundaries with new people, don't do casual hookups. For the love of God, stop doing this. Stop putting yourself in situations where you're, putting yourself at risk. Because if you can't assert your boundaries with new people, don't have sex with new people that you don't know very well. Don't engage in hookups. Don't do things that are put you in a risky spot. Also, like, people can have ED or pelvic issues or more. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I even had that for a while, and it was like one of those things where I'm like, oh no, it's like, it wasn't anyone else's fault. Like, you're gonna have, especially if you hook up a lot, if you're someone who's like, maybe don't hook up a lot, maybe you won't have this experience as much. But if you're someone who does like a lot of casual hookups, or even if you like, go on a lot of dates, there's gonna be times where like things go wrong or things happen that you're like, oh, that was weird or that was uncomfortable. It's not necessarily assault. Don't because you end up victimizing yourself also so much more. You put yourself in a worse mental state because you're like in this place where you're like, oh, like every bad thing that happens is like extremely bad. It can't just be like a bad thing. It has to be like trauma, or it has to be assault, or it has to be like we attach like the word trauma. Like this is the most fucking abused word on the internet is trauma. Everything is fucking trauma, and it pisses me off. No one knows what trauma is, but everything is now trauma. Like everything. It's like anything that happens to you, any bad situation, it's trauma. Microaggressions are trauma. It's fuck off. I hate all of you people. I hate the internet. Sorry. Ranty mode on. Anyway. Yes, but also it's going to sound weird, but I've seen weird narratives like people wanting all issues to revolve around them when it might just be miscommunication. Yeah, I think this a lot of time comes down to, and I see it in like even like in Twitch spheres and stuff a lot. We have a really easy tendency to ascribe malicious intent to other people where we wouldn't for ourselves. Like we might do something stupid or make a mistake, and we'll never apply malicious intent because we're like, oh, I just fucked up, or it was a dumb mistake or whatever. But when other people make similar mistakes, we're like, oh, why would they do that? They did it on purpose. Like, oh, they meant to like hurt me or something. Like, there's a really like we're so it's like it kind of reminds me of like when you're driving a car and you like do something stupid like where you switch lanes and accidentally cut someone off and you're like, oh my god, I totally didn't see them, like I feel really bad or whatever, right? Like when you do it you're like, oh shit, I'm like so sorry, like like that you're like, oh, I wasn't meaning to like do anything mean. But when someone cuts you off in traffic, you're all of a sudden like, oh, what a bitch, like they're a shitty driver, like, oh, they like don't care about anyone else on the road, because like you automatically ascribe, and I know there's a psychological phenomenon for this, and I don't remember what it's called. I remember learning one of my classes, but you're really easy to ascribe like bad behavior to other people where you wouldn't for yourself. And I think the same thing happens on like in relationships or even online and stuff, where like people like see other people do things, and you automatically ascribe malicious intent where it doesn't exist. Just because you're like, oh, well, I would never do that. And so we assume that like if someone's doing something like that, they're doing it on purpose, and you like automatically assume that it's a malicious thing. And even in sexual encounters, it's one of those things where it's like people like, oh, if they're like doing something that you don't like, it's because they're trying to get you to like, they're trying to like rape you, or they're trying to like assault you, they're trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do. It's like, no, most people, like most sexual encounters are a little bit of give and take. Like you're usually kind of like figuring each other out. You're trying to figure out like how to navigate the situation, especially if it's a new person, if it's someone you don't know very well, if it's a hookup. Like you're probably going to be like, testing the boundaries a little bit, because you're not going to negotiate every single like little boundary right before you start having sex. You're probably going to like set some ground rules, like, hey, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I really like this. You're going to set those like basic rules, but then like once the sexual encounter actually starts, you're probably going to like, push it back and forth a little bit on like the actual boundaries of like what that sexual encounter is. Hi Rams.
Is Michelle asleep?
I don't know. Did she pass out while we were trying? I think she just left. I think she like walked away to go get food or something.
She'd
Yeah,
be quiet.
yeah. Because I was talking for a long time because we were talking about legal stuff, and then anyway, how long have you been listening? I know I saw you come in a little bit ago, and I was like, I don't want to stop my rant. I will get to.
Oh, when you were talking about sex.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you missed the legal stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Um, yeah, but it's also going to sound weird when it's just me. Trauma is a powerful word that unfortunately can get you attention on social media. Yeah, it's super misused, and I think again, like, yeah, you're right. I think a lot of people know that like if they use the word like this is traumatic, or like I have trauma from this, people will click on that video more than they'll say like, oh, this was an uncomfortable situation. Like no one's gonna click on like the basic videos. People love like very spicy, very like clickbaity type words, and if you see stuff like that, it's really easy to like latch on. And so like now people are like, oh, if I put trauma in my title, people are more likely to watch. And like now it's like, fuck, it's like the most overused word on the internet. Everyone, like basically at this point, everyone has trauma. Like if you've gone through some type of hardship, you now have trauma, because everything is trauma at this point. But no one really knows what that word means, and like people just again aggressively misuse it. True, like it's a give and take and finding yourself. Yeah, exactly. But like I don't think anyone wants to acknowledge this part, especially that people go. And again, like that's what worries me about people going into sexual encounters now and hookups now, is like if you don't understand that like most sexual encounters, especially hookups, like if you know the person better, like if this is someone you've been hooking up for a while, it's a little bit different because you probably know that person a little bit better. But if you're someone who's engaging in hookups and you expect that hookup to be perfect and that person not to do anything wrong ever, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like things will happen in sexual situations that like aren't planned or like you don't expect to happen. But as long as you can, and again, then you have to be, if you're going to engage in hookup culture, be strong enough to assert your boundaries in sexual situations and be like, oh, hey, I don't like this, or can we not do this, or can we do something else? Like, you need to be able to like speak up for yourself, and like, especially in like, and most people, like girls are always like, and I get it, there's like times where it can be scary as a woman to say stuff, but if like you were so scared of the person you're about to hook up with that you don't think you can reassert a boundary, don't go into that sexual situation. Because like again, you're setting up, and you're not going to act perfectly 100% of the time, and I don't expect anyone to ever act perfectly 100% of the time, because obviously there's going to be times where like things happen that are unexpected, but the more you can like assess a situation and analyze the situation and set yourself up for a better encounter, the better off you're going to be. The less times that you're going to come out feeling shitty about a sexual encounter. With trauma, there's differences in having triggers or uncomfortability and trauma. Yeah, but some things just aren't trauma. Like I think people, again, like we use that word so frequently now, where it's like everything has become trauma, and that's what kind of bothers me. Is like if you say something is trauma, now it's trauma, and I don't know if that's necessarily the way we should be using that word. And I think maybe you'll disagree because obviously you're the professional, but like, is there a specific definition you would like ascribe to trauma, or is it anytime someone feels like it was traumatic that it becomes trauma? Because I feel like trauma has to have like a certain response with it, or like a certain level, like because lower level things can be traumatic for certain people, of course, because everyone will react to different situations differently. But I feel like trauma also comes with like a longer lasting like effect on your mind and brain. So like if you've been traumatized, you'll have certain reactions to like certain situations because of that. But I could be wrong. Maybe I just don't understand trauma. Maybe I'm wrong. That could always be the case. Rams, do you want to play some Tetris
Uh,
or Brawl?
sure. Just check something in GTA real quick.
Oh my god, you guys in your fucking GTA. Ah, that's bright. I gotta stop turning that on.
Don't hate it because you don't got enough space.
I don't.
Oh, Michelle.
Is she asleep? Did she actually fall asleep? Is that also her snoring? Oh my god. Okay. Damn, I thought she was like awake for like half my rant and she just fell asleep mid rant. That's nice.
You have to let her talk, otherwise she's gonna fall asleep.
Apparently. I can't reach
Can't
the back of my computer from here. I.e. war zones, car accidents, SA, domestic violence, and more. Yeah. Wait. Response to an event that an individual finds extremely stressful. Yeah. But like, I don't know. Is that something you have to be assessed for, or can you like, how comfortable are you with people self-ascribing something as traumatic or trauma? Is that something like you, like is it more like a thing that like you can describe yourself of like this was a traumatic situation for me, or do you consider it more like a mental health thing where you're like, oh, there's probably should be some like professional diagnosis, because like obviously PTSD, oh, you have to get tested. Okay, great. Okay, that's what I thought, because I'm like, it's more like PTSD I know you have to get tested for, but I'm like, is trauma different? Is there PTSD? And like I know they can be different. They might be like there might be some overlap, but they're not the exact same thing. That's why we have trauma psychologists. Yeah, that's the thing. But like everyone wants to like just everyone abuses this word online, and it really pisses me off. Where it's like everything is trauma, and I'm like, I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I would actually love to have you on to talk about this more in like the future, because I think it's like a super interesting topic. But it's something that I notice a lot online. But that's what I figured, something longer lasting rather than being, oh yeah, that was a shitty day. Yeah, and like things can be long lasting. Like things can have an impact on you. Like a bad situation can have an impact on you without it necessarily being trauma, right? Like you can go through something like really hard in your life. Like things can happen that like impact you for a long time, like losing like a loved one, or going through an event that was like really stressful, or like, you know, really hard.
You're like elementary school teacher pressing you about religion?
Yeah, like that rants.
Bitch.
But it doesn't necessarily mean it's like trauma, because like even if something has lasting effects, it doesn't mean like, because like to me what I usually consider like, or what I've heard like trauma described as is like it is like it's an event that has a long lasting impact that actually affects your response to certain situations. So like if you have like a traumatic like incident with like let's say sexual violence, then all of a sudden like now you have like a traumatic like a trauma response or a trigger to like certain sexual encounters. Oh, let's see. DSM-5 preschool PTSD criterion: presence of one or more intrusive symptoms associated with the traumatic events, beginning after the traumatic events occurred, recurrent involuntary and intrusive distressing recollections, which may be expressed as a play, traumatic nightmares in which the content effect is related to the traumatic events. It's not always possible to determine what that the frightening content is related to the traumatic event. That was for your friend. Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so see, this sounds like more in line of what I've heard like trauma to be. And so I'm like, I could be wrong, but this is like from what my psychology classes I've done, what it seems like. Okay, gotta turn this way. I'm so sad that I'm so stupid because I like had the sign written out and I was like, I wrote the sign out and I was so proud of myself and then I held it up for the camera and I realized it was flipped the wrong way and I was like, fuck me.
Oh, you gotta
Um,
put it on translucent paper so then you can see the back of it.
Next time.
Yeah,
It
like
looks
tracing
great,
paper.
haha. I don't even know if Brady's still here. I don't know if Brady's in here. I don't. I don't wanna... Why did I play Truth or Drink with y'all? That was a terrible idea. Awful
What
idea. He went
happened?
to bed. Okay. Chill. Sick.
Did you expose yourself, Sabrina?
No, I just played Truth or Drink with Brady, Ed, and Iggy and Rosie on their channel, and then I was forced to make that sign that says "We love Poppy Ed." I said "we" because I'm like, you know what? The whole community loves you. We all love you. And then I was supposed to compliment. I was supposed to call Brady cute a bunch of times, and yeah, Brady, you're cute. Good job. I've fulfilled my
Damn.
requirements. I'll say it twice more throughout stream, and I've fulfilled my duties.
How do you feel about that? You traumatized?
Yeah, you know what? That was
Yeah.
traumatic for me. That was the most traumatic thing in my life.
Mm.
Um, jokes.
There.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Oh, Michelle's just like grunting on stream because she's like asleep. I'm gonna take her out of the Discord. Every once in a while, I just hear a grunt, and I thought she was still awake or like doing stuff.
Yeah, I usually just let her leave there for a minute because you might wake up. But yeah.
Oopsies, that's the wrong Discord. I shouldn't be showing that one. Oh well. Anyway, yeah. So, Rams, what about you? Any thoughts on this? Oh,
What, a trauma?
just any of the stuff we've talked about here.
I can't touch on the sex thing. I'm trying. I don't know. You know, how people are like, oh, explore mental health and this and that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which, like, yeah, you should probably do. But I feel like some people explore that and then kind of manifest that they want that, or like, I don't know. There's just some glorification of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think like I've definitely talked about this on stream before, but like it sometimes
Which
feels like mental
might
health
be
is
like
now like a
mental
cool
illness
thing
in
now.
itself, but yeah.
It's like it's kind of a cool fun thing to have now. Like it's like quirky and like everyone kind of wants to like because like it's such a big thing online to be part of like
No, I mean,
oh
online and just in general, and like uh any space of where there's people of like some type of influence. Like you look at the current state of music
yeah
within the last 15 years, right? Yeah, rock was in the emo phase, hip hop was in the emo phase, like all these big genres have gone
yeah
to the emo phase, and some of the big artists within the last 10 to 20 years have, like Kid Cudi and stuff like that, have who, you know, talk about their experience with it and them dealing with it, but like they do it to a really catchy beat and hook
mm-hmm
and stuff, and so people kind of find something that is supposed to be for awareness and supposed to be like creating comfort within in these horrible kind of dark places,
mm-hmm
and then they see it as, oh, I want to be there with them
yeah
for
yeah
whatever reason.
you want to be able to like relate to the stuff that you're hearing more.
Yeah,
I think that definitely, at least from like my experience, like I was an emo kid growing up, so I definitely like saw that a lot. Where like I think people like when it came to like emo music, it's like people wanted to like connect as much as possible. So I think like Tumblr was really toxic for this because it encouraged people to like become mentally ill. Like,
yeah.
oh, thank you, Bonfire. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. But yeah, it felt like one of those things where like especially like being on Tumblr growing up and in the emo scene it was like one of those things where people like encourage you to be like or like implicitly like it was I don't know if it was ever explicit like oh but it felt like you were more in tune with the community or in tune with the band like you were more part of the group if you did have a mental illness like oh
But
you don't
Tumblr was like,
understand if you like unless you like have like unless you're depressed you don't really get the music or you don't really understand them unless you have like this disorder and
yeah,
it's like it was like you were
Tumblr was
excluded.
another thing because Tumblr became kind of like culty in that,
Yeah.
because there is still that in like, social media platforms of today, but Tumblr was something else because it got culty. It was like trying to recruit people into kind of like it being like, hey, you might be in this dark place too. And then some people took it way too far as well.
Yeah, that definitely.
That's taking it far too, but some people took it a lot further.
Tumblr was really bad for creating toxic communities because you had the whole thing
Yeah.
with like even like ED communities, like eating disorder communities, was really bad. I
Yeah.
remember especially like if you were in those emo scenes, like because it was a big place of like emo girls and like the skinny emo girls, like I remember being like ended up on like a lot of like luckily I never like fell into that as much because I don't think I had ever had a lot of body issues, so I was really lucky to not fall into that. But I definitely know
Mm.
people who like got into that scene and then like became very anorexic after because like you saw all these people who were like glorifying like the anorexic lifestyle or like being like
Yeah.
skinny to an extreme degree, and it was super glorified, especially on Tumblr, especially if you were in those communities. It was a really easy passage from like the emo scene to like the ED communities and the
Yeah.
anorexia, the pro ana communities as they were called.
Right.
And that was like really scary. It was like how like easy it was to like, and there was no moderation on Tumblr back then. Like if you like these communities only like in my later like teen years, remember I remember when I went back to Tumblr and if you looked up pro ana, it would give you like a message of like a warning of like these are like toxic like streams and like if you need help please reach out, and it was like okay great, like only in the last like I don't know 10 years is like Tumblr updated, like or not even 10 years, I think it was like probably 2014 2015 maybe 2016 that like I remember going back and seeing like they finally added like triggers and stuff to like different
Right.
communities because like they like realized how bad it was. But
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny how like we had that, and then you fast forward today, and people love to talk about like the restrictions that social media platforms put on.
mm-hmm,
Which I do agree in some senses are they do go to an extreme and censor a little bit too much.
mm-hmm,
But it's always like whenever people get outraged of that, of like, oh, Twitch is censoring this, or YouTube censoring this, or Instagram or whatever. It's like, yeah, but the opposite was Tumblr,
mm-hmm.
and it's like prime of when it was like one of the
Yeah, like
main social media
how do you
platforms.
balance these things? Like how do
Yeah,
you have like a free platform to like do whatever you want, but like not encourage like people to engage in that type of. I mean, it was the same
yeah,
thing with like the pedo stuff even became like really bad on Tumblr after a while
right,
because there was no moderation. Like there was just a shit ton of like pedophilia stuff happening or like pro pedophilia communities.
right.
Um
And it's one of those things that like I don't think would ever. I mean, computers get better every day, so maybe we'll find a nice balance. But it's hard to do when everybody with whatever way gets pushed towards them,
mhm.
people love to push away from it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we need safer space online, right? Well, okay, well, online is created into a place where anybody can do anything anonymously,
Mhm.
and when you give that kind of power, it's like you're not really gonna have a safe space. It's like it's wishful thinking to have a safe space,
Mhm.
but people don't always have the best nature, so you have that, and then it's like, oh, but you can't make it non-anonymous. You can't make everybody, have to like register for online or anything because people aren't going to be having that. So it's just like, you're never really going to have a safe space online.
Yeah.
And I hate when people are like, oh, these companies are censoring this or that. It's like they're trying, and
There's
it's
times
more
where
of like,
companies go too far and I will completely agree
yeah,
with that, but there's like some things that I think like understandably are censored. Like
yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily agree with like censoring political extremism on
yeah,
platforms because I think that's something that you can combat better with like actual like interaction. Like I think if you send it to fringe communities or like cuz they'll like even now like we have like all the like political like right-wing extremists have like created their own platforms and now they're just festering there, and it's like was that better
right,
than like combating them on our platforms, like because like before that at least they were doing like
right,
debates and they were like out there and like people knew what their content was and you could like assess it better, but now they're like cultivating their own little cult communities on like separate platforms
right,
and I don't know if I like that. But then when it comes to like certain like things like when it comes to like sex content and stuff, I understand why like Tumblr cracked down quite a bit because like at a time
yeah.
like
Well,
as much as
it's a
like Tumblr
danger.
was like this porn platform like for a lot of people, it like also had a lot of like fuck shit on there, and I understand why
It's
they
a
probably had to cut down on some of a little bit of it.
it's the difference of like trying to censor dangerous stuff and trying to censor mature stuff. I don't think you should really censor mature stuff, depending on the platform,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, I feel like some platforms just need to put the foot down to say like what their audience really is,
Hmm.
right? You see like TikTok, and people always complain about TikTok having really restrictive, rules on the content you can post and stuff like that. And then with TikTok, it kind of makes sense because TikTok, they're never going to say it, but the TikTok are made for a younger audience.
Hmm.
Like, that's a big portion. I love using TikTok.
Yeah. Are you still
But
on
there is,
GTA by the way?
No, I just got off GTA.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
but
sent the
like,
code in the group chat.
but like when TikTok was started doing all, they're like, restricting this and that, and you can't say this on TikTok, or if you show this in the first couple seconds of your TikTok, it might be like shadow ban or whatever.
Hmm.
Like I understand where they're coming from because they do have a big young audience in there.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like something like YouTube and Twitch, they could do a better job of like kind of separating their platform into
Yeah,
different areas
100%.
of being like, here's for mature audience and here is for kids and stuff to go to, and but that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, a lot of banning just enforces their worldview rather than changing it. Yeah, that's the thing, because like a lot of people have this view that like if you are censored, then it's like they're trying to hide something you're saying, and they'll actually take that as like almost encouragement of like, oh, like I'm obviously right because they're trying to like censor me, and that's like a
Yeah,
dangerous thing. Is like you're now like suddenly encouraging it because you're like they're gonna take that as like an implicit like I'm right and they don't want you to hear it.
yeah.
Um,
Which is why I'm like, look, I don't like the government as much as everybody else, but like all this like governments are after us and this and this and that, and it's like it gets too much of an extreme where you get people that think like that, then that like
nah, I
entire
disagree.
censorship.
I'm anti-government. Okay, fuck the government. They're out to get you.
I'm at the government, but I don't think the
I know,
government
I'm
is,
kidding.
is specifically coming for us.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you. I think government
Yeah.
does things that are not in the best interest of the public. A lot of times, like I think that does happen. But I think it can go too far where people get like caught up in the idea that like everything the government does is to go against you. I think
I
that's
mean, they're
like,
just big businesses. Like, and that's the thing when people are talking about like businesses exploiting people or whatever. Like, a job isn't to exploit people, but there is to make a profit. And if making profit is exploiting people, that's what they're gonna do. And I'm not trying to justify them doing what they're doing, but like you gotta
yeah.
understand
But that's also the point is
why
like
they're
if you
doing
want a
it to
business
actually
to
like attack
thrive,
that.
is like I don't think people understand how like most people don't understand how business works, even to like a
Yeah,
moderate extent. And so like people like automatically assume that like oh like just because it's like I think a business somewhat necessarily has to be like a little exploitative. And I don't think it's actually necessarily wrong that it is because I think the whole point of like having like a business and then workers is like you're constantly in that
yeah.
negotiation process.
I I don't think it's you have to exploit people, but exploiting people is
But
like
like
a shortcut to
like
success.
what is because
That's
like
so
people
easy to
people
take.
consider like bad wages exploitation. Like if you're like not paying
Right.
people like in the States is like if you're not paying people like a livable wage, is that necessarily now exploitation even if like the minimum wage is like
Well, not from that company. If they're just doing what the law says they have to do, and being the law
but
being
that's
like
the
this
thing
is the
is like
minimum
that's
wage,
like now
that's
people are
not yeah.
considered now people consider that exploitation even, right?
Right.
Like anything can be exploitation at that point because like as long as like people like deem it like oh this is like
Yeah.
exploitative
But
practice.
because they don't want to think like, and this is something that like that happens within like the entertainment industry a lot, where people are like, oh, music labels exploit their artists or movie studios exploit actors and stuff, and it's like they might not give them what you or that actor or everybody or the general public thinks they should have gotten
Hmm.
out of a deal or whatever, but you gotta understand all of this was written on page,
Yeah.
and people sign contracts and stuff like that, and if you sign a contract saying that you get a certain amount and then later on you feel like, oh, that certain amount isn't what your value really is, that's not really exploitation
Yeah,
if
especially if
everybody
it's like in
was
the
like,
case where a movie does better than like you might have intended, and now you feel like you didn't get paid enough. But
yeah,
it's like, well, you couldn't have like determined that from the
because
beginning. Like
people
you would have to
that's
know like the future to be able to like determine that.
that's a big thing within like the superhero genre. I mean, I don't like to call it genre. People call it genre of movies and stuff, like the Marvel movies and stuff like that, where people are like, "Oh, the creators of these characters aren't getting paid for the characters being on screen." And everything. It's just like, well,
They sold the rights.
they never had the rights. When you sign to or when you sign a deal with DC or Marvel, the big two, to create a comic book, you're creating it with the intention or with the knowledge that they get all the rights to whatever you
Yep.
make, whatever they publish, they get all the rights. That's why we have independent comic book companies like Image Comic and Dark Horse Comics now, is because people didn't like that. But those people can't really be like, oh, I got exploited because everybody knew what was what, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they're putting a fast one now. Be like, no, we're taking your character that you had the right. You never had the right to it.
It's like you knew what you were signing when you signed that
Yeah,
contract, and if that's not something you want, if you want to create your character and own it and like be able to do what you want, then don't sign.
yeah,
Like you have to like people want
and it's
all
like,
of like the good and like without any of the bad. So it's like oh, I want to be able to sign with a big company and get my work out there, but I also want
Yeah.
all the rights. But it's like, no, you have to like compromise when it comes to like dealing with like a company that has a lot of power. It's like, yeah, it sucks, but like if you want that kind of like exposure, then like you have to be able to
Yeah.
work with those companies in the way they want. And if that's not worth it to you, then that's fine. But like then don't complain, right?
Yeah, and then just like I mean, I wish that they would get paid and they would get
Yeah, of
some form of
course.
compensation for their work, right? Uh, but I won't say because they aren't that they're being exploited, that their work has been exploited or anything like that.
Yeah,
But people always want to view it like that, right?
yeah.
I can't remember who. There was a comic book creator that came out and he was like, yeah, he had two. He created a character for Marvel and a character for DC, and he's like, yeah, when DC movie came out with my character in it, they gave me a check, and Marvel didn't. But neither one of them did anything right or wrong,
It
right?
was just
It
like
was just like,
what the
yeah,
contract was.
yeah, DC just decided to give that person a check for using a character that he created, and Marvel didn't. Marvel didn't do anything wrong because there was no like contract or anything that he had any right to that character, or that he gets any kind of revenue for anything from that character. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Dang, I was really holding on at the end there. Um, Goal of business is to maximally exploit people reasonably. I get exploited out of my talent and stress, but at least it's for a good reason. Yeah. However, I do find it uncomfortable when they keep using the characters of someone who's passed away. I mean, I guess, but like, I think if you sold the rights to a person, like, I think if you don't own the rights to a character, like, even if you created it, if you've agreed once you like sell the rights of something to like say like they can use that kind of in any way. I understand it could feel a little uncomfy, but I don't know if I necessarily like am like it's okay.
Uh, I think it's yeah. I don't think this is anything wrong.
Because
I
like, are
feel
we gonna
weird
say that
as
like
a
we can't
kid
have any more
fan,
Winnie
like
the
when
Pooh? Because like he died, he passed away. The guy who wrote it.
right, but I feel weird sometimes about it. I don't know if it's right. Like take
You
Lord of the
wouldn't
Rings, right?
ascribe like hard moral status to it.
Well, but look, take something like Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lord of the Rings, you have the books the Tolkien wrote, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the movies, right? And even at the movies, uh, it's not like a one-to-one of what Tolkien wanted, right?
Yeah.
It's like change for cinema and everything, blah blah blah. And then we have Shadow of Mordor and these games that have come out in the last couple of years. Now we have this new prequel anime series coming out and stuff like that. And none of this is like anything from Tolkien's mind
Yeah.
or created by Tolkien. So it's like a weird thing where it's like, yeah, Tolkien, the rights are to a studio now, right? All the rights have been sold. They have the rights for everything. But
Mm-hmm.
it's weird going back to that world, and it's like, yeah, it's technically canon, but it doesn't feel canon. If
Because
that
it
makes
wasn't his
sense.
story, like the thing that he
No.
created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I still feel that way about Star Wars, but like George Lucas is still alive to be like, yeah,
He
anything
can like
from Star Wars
comment being
now.
like, "This isn't what I wanted," but whatever, they can do whatever they want, kind of thing.
But he consciously sold the rights to Star Wars to Disney, with knowing that like whatever comes out of Star Wars now is from them, right?
Mm,
He knows it, everybody knows it, so it's like different, but like
yeah.
when they keep announcing all these new Lord of the Rings stuff, it's like yeah,
Yeah,
I
I guess
guess.
that's fair because I don't like. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of them. Like, unless like it turns out. I mean, if it might turn out good, but I don't know if I like. I think I'm like ready. Like the thing is, like Lord of the Rings is my all-time favorite series, but sometimes I'm okay with like things just finishing. I think it's okay to just let
Yeah.
things finish, and I feel like that's like something that like the movie industry is like very much like not doing right now. Is like everything needs a sequel, everything needs a reboot, and I'm like I don't want a reboot. I want to live with my Lord of the Rings that made me happy as a child, and I just want to rewatch the same three movies for the rest of my life, and I'm happy doing. Oh my god, there's a bug. Ah, there's a bug. Panic. Yeah, but it's like I'm okay with like just letting things. Oh my god, he flew into my fucking glasses, bro. Can't see shit. Like, if I die, please just. Oh fuck, I started reading before I died. Fuck me. Okay, I'm just gonna kill myself. Um.
Did you?
Oh
Oh, did you see how you kind of just kept going?
no, it's okay. We'll
I
restart.
was so
I was reading. Uh, Star Wars Resurrection moment. Fucking oof. Yeah. Any of the new three movies, I haven't even watched all three of them. I watched like
Oh,
number
okay.
1 and 2, and then I just like gave
You're
up.
talking. He's talking about like a Paul Walker kind of situation.
Oh, I'm talking about the actor's perspective. Actors with like deep fakes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like if I die, please just replace me. No deep fakes. Yeah, that's kind of understandable. Actually,
Even
I would also feel
ooh,
weird about that.
this is okay. So with the Fast and Furious franchise, I've talked about it that I don't really like the franchise that much after five, but one thing that I really with the rest of the movie, I'm like, okay, if you enjoy them, you enjoy them, blah blah blah. I don't really have an opinion on them, but the fact that they keep drilling Paul Walker's character Brian in the story
Hmm.
as like emotional heartstring pulling, I just I don't know. I always feel
It
like
feels a
it's
little
so
weird.
yeah.
That feels exploitative. That definitely.
I get deep faking him for the last film because he acted or he did most of the
Yeah,
film already, so they kind of just finished it off. But yeah,
that one
like
felt weird. I also agree with that. I feel like sometimes it's like, especially with like,
after that they should have just written him dead or
yeah,
just like written him out of the story and just like you know you don't have to mention him in every movie after that and
yeah,
be trying to justify why he's not around and
that
stuff.
shit feels kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like he's not around. He's not around. Like we know. Yeah, like no one's gonna be like, where's Brian from now on? Blah blah blah. No, he just like let that character be.
There's easy ways you could write people out of the
Yeah.
Fast and Furious movies. It's not like they're so, but I think
I'm
they
trying to think
knew
about
they're like
any
playing
other
them.
situation where they were really defaking characters. I can't think off the
None where
bat.
the character was dead, I don't think. Oh, didn't they do it for Princess Leia in the Star Wars? But because she like filmed most of the scenes, but didn't she pass away, Carrie Fisher?
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I
don't know
think
how
they
much
did
she
it with.
filmed,
I
but
think
if
she.
she did start filming that and they had a good portion, I can
Yeah,
see
I'm
what
pretty sure.
where they're
I'm
going
pretty sure
there.
they did. I'm pretty sure they had like a decent amount of her in, and I think she passed away before they finished. Yeah, they did for Leia. Did she film any of it? Right? I feel like she did, and she
I know
passed
the
away.
defape, but I don't know if she filmed any of that.
I thought she did, but maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I
Maybe
could be.
she did.
Um, I actually could be wrong on that, but I thought she passed away because I thought she passed away towards the end of the movie being made. Um,
Deepfaking technology is exciting, but yeah, there is always that. Like I know
a lot of potentials for
people.
abuse there.
Oh,
Well, like with all the
Disney.
porn stuff that's being made of people, it was kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's. I mean, I'm talking about this film, but like, yeah, that side is fucked up. But like, as far as film, it's exciting. Except for like stuff like fuck Disney, I think, or was it Mark? I think Disney has the right to use Stanley's likeness and appearance or whatever, and
Oh,
so people are like, oh, are they gonna start deep faking him into
I wouldn't be. I
Marvel
would be against
cameos and
that.
stuff,
Yeah, I think
right?
like his cameos was a really cool thing that he did in every movie, but like it just feels weird.
You
Like if he
can't,
like,
yeah.
it feel
That's like
weird
an
to deep
era
fake
thing.
it.
That's like a time, you
Yeah,
know. And it's
like
okay that like they don't have those anymore because that just
everyone
doesn't take away from
knows.
those films. Yeah,
Yeah, it was something he did when he was alive, and it was a really cool thing. But I think we can let it go once he passes away, like or once
yeah.
now that he's
And it's
passed away.
like we got a lot of the characters that he created on screen,
Hmm.
and now we're getting characters that didn't necessarily come from that Jack Kirby Stan Lee camp,
Yeah,
and some of their creators are still alive. I wouldn't mind them making cameos. I mean, people might not know them, like the casual viewer might not know them
yeah.
off the bat, right? Even some comic fans probably don't know because like it's like how many comic artists do you really know by appearance? Um, but I think that'd be cool. Just throw them in there wherever you can, right?
Why is it going so fast? Yeah, no, I agree. I think like there's other things you can do instead of having like a Stanley like deep fake. It would, yeah.
Yeah,
They did that for Leia, an off-screen trailer thing for Fast and Furious. I think she died in the middle of filming. Yeah, I was pretty sure she died in the middle of filming. But like that, I'm okay with because like obviously she's filmed most of it, and they like did some deep fakes to finish off the movie. That seems fine because she had already agreed to like do that movie. She agreed to the script, but like to do like a whole piece of like art that that person never agreed with, and to use their like legacy and their being to like do something that they might not have ever agreed with when they were alive, it just seems really kind of scummy to me.
yeah. I have the same feeling with just like posthumous albums when an artist dies and release a new
Oh,
album. Like they're still releasing Exorcist Tentacion albums, and like I'm not a big fan of Exorcist Tentacion, but that's fucking disrespectful. You're still milking
yeah. Like
his
they're not like that wasn't their like
yes.
decision to release it. Like what if they weren't
Yeah.
finished? Like it just feels weird to like release somebody's art.
You know what feels weird is
I mean, I
that
guess
I'll
we
log
do it
on
with like old
to
artists though, because there was a lot of stuff like I remember we were
even
talking
that feels weird.
because like well even like one of the books we're reading right now for my psychology class, right? It was what was it? David Hume's like The Natural Religion one. He never actually published it while he was alive because it was a lot of anti-religious stuff in it.
Right.
And so he didn't publish it at the time he was alive because obviously it was like the, I don't know, 1700s or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really be non-religious. But now like they're very like well-known like philosophical books. But like he didn't really like ever want those published at his time. But I guess like maybe in the future, like now that like it's a time that he could have, but like we don't know that. But now I'm like
Right.
kind of thinking about that. I'm like, we use a lot of like media and stuff like that for like schooling that like a lot of artists like I don't know there's like isn't there a lot of Van Gogh's paintings like stuff he never like actually like released or whatever
Yeah,
like he
most
just
most of the Van Gogh pictures
yeah
are stuff that he's never released.
like Picasso
And
was
it
like
just like
fucking like out of
found
his mind at the end of
yeah.
his life like I don't know if he like
And
constantly like made the decision to like produce any of that stuff because like
well, that's why it's like it's so art being sold after an artist is dead is so weird. Like
but it's
Van
also
Gogh,
like
like
do
when
we
you sell a Van Gogh painting or when a Van Gogh painting is being bought or whatever, it's like how tone deaf of a situation is that? This man went insane for his
yeah
art, right? Maybe not for his art, but his art had a big
no
impact. Like
fuck
his
out of here
sanity and his
fucking
art
mosquito bro
were intertwined
yeah
until the end, right? So it's just like it's such a weird thing when like one of his like, especially an unreleased painting like sells for
yeah
like millions of
but
dollars, and it's
also
like
then like do
great.
we like that
This
we
man who was constantly having mental breakdowns and everything,
but
that, the output of that you're selling
at
for
the same
personal gain
time
and
though
stuff.
do we like just say that like oh we can't like what if like because like now these are pieces of like history right like do we just say
Right.
that like we like ignore it like we like don't release history just
I mean,
because
I
like
think
it's
there's a
like
respectful way
disrespectful
of doing it. Like you could put it up in a museum for people to
yeah
see or whatever.
okay
But like the game, but it's like when you put profit into it, and when you're like, oh, these are $1 million pictures. Why
oh
can't it
good
just
night
be
bonfire
special without any monetary gain? Why can't we just say
yeah
like
well because
this
everything
is a
is like
special
about
piece of
money
work?
right
But yeah, we need to put a dollar figure
I
on it
think because like nothing
to
is really worth
tell how
anything in a
much
world
it
without
actually is
like
worth
a
anything.
monetary value right like how much do we actually care about things that aren't worth anything
Right.
right? So like that's also where like half the worth comes from. Is like people are willing to pay a lot of money for a Van Gogh, so that's why it's like worth something. And why it's like these like are incredible artists, but like they're incredible artists because people are willing to pay a lot of money for their work
Yeah.
because they were like big like famous artists of their time. I don't even think Van Gogh was actually that famous in his time.
No,
That's
it
the
was
thing,
not
right?
his
Like
time
people
ever.
he wasn't like well
People
liked. So,
hated him.
yeah,
People hated
exactly.
his
So
art
it's like
style.
this whole
People
thing of
hated him.
like it's a historical figure and like now we're willing to pay a lot because like the whole story behind him is like very like unique and stuff. But like that's like kind of the part that like where it comes like his I don't think his value because like again if it wasn't for like modern day like
Hi, William.
enjoyment of his stuff and like people wanting to pay for it I don't think it'd be it's not like it's
You know
like I
how
love his art don't get me wrong but it's like one of
yeah.
those things like it
Oh yeah, no, I'm
everything comes
glad
from
that we have his art to see and view and everything,
yeah
and then right. But yeah, it's just that monetary. You know how fucking weird it is to open up Instagram and see a fresh new picture of Tupac.
yeah
It is the most wild shit ever because there's Tupac like all his social media accounts are like active. If
that's
you guys don't
weird
know, Tupac
why are we
online on
making
social
social
media was
media
a thing.
accounts oh my god I just screamed and like turned my light on
And now you guys are putting out like 2022 pics of Tupac, and it's
yeah
the weirdest shit ever. And they
that's yeah
caption it like he's talking,
that shit's
like it's one
weird
of
as
those like
fuck dog
insane
moms
dog moms.
yeah
Yeah,
no,
and
that
it's
stuff
just like
fucking
it's
that I don't like that because it's like now you're just like impersonating like someone who's dead and like you're doing it for the like it's weird as fuck to me.
they stopped releasing Tupac albums. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, Tupac's?
Yeah, but
Oh.
Tupac and Biggie have like so many albums after their death.
Yeah,
Which, a disgusting amount, and they finally stopped doing it. But they do it with like artists now. Like, Pop Smoke died, and I think 90% of all his unreleased music is out there now. Within
dang,
like 2 years of him passing, and it's just like
Jesus.
he wasn't around long enough to have like a ton of music, but that's alone is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little icky.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is like, especially like when it's done in a way for like I think there's like a difference, like especially with the way we treat Van Gogh's art is like we like understand the history, whereas like a lot I don't know if like necessarily the people who are like releasing these guys like music is necessarily like with the same like respect as like maybe we did with
Some Some do, some don't. The Mac Miller album that came out after he passed away
Yeah.
was done in a very respectful way, where
Oh
like
yeah, I do
a
remember that
major
actually.
producer, yeah, a major producer who was working on it with him, took over, and so they already had most of the vocals
And
and
they also
everything laid
probably
out.
had
So
a
they,
relationship, like he knew
yeah,
what Mac would have wanted and stuff. Like it's a
yeah. So
difference.
he kind of put it into what vision Mac was already set. So it's like the blueprint and everything was set, and it was just putting pieces together.
Yeah,
And see that like I understand, and then them saying like that's it, they're not doing this anymore.
yeah,
Like that just to go off and give it to the fans, something that Mac would probably want, doing it in a tasteful manner, that's cool, right?
hmm
But just like fucking 3 albums of XXXTentacion songs have came out after
yeah,
his past, and it's just like you're still putting out music. They
hmm
just put out a new album like a week ago or 2 weeks ago
yeah. That's
because they
weird.
wanted to sell the documentary that they made about him, and it's just like it's scummy at this point.
Yep. But capitalism encourages scumminess a lot of times. Unfortunately, as much as I'm a
Yeah.
capitalist, it's just not always the best situation. Anyway, Wills, how's it going? What's
Oh,
up?
you know,
We're
Yeah.
streaming, by the way, just so you know.
uh,
We had a barbecue today for like Father's Day and everything.
mm,
At the farm, and all the family came out, and we definitely bought too much food, and so now I have
How
a
very
whole
brown of
pack.
you.
Yeah, now I have a whole pack of Costco hot dogs to get through
Ooh,
within the next week.
damn,
So
I'm jealous.
you want to invite us over?
I mean, I love Costco hot dogs as much as the next guy, but I need them for like a week.
Y'all want to have a barbecue at
Nah,
my
you just
place?
have them for breakfast. They're sausages. Have them for lunch. They're hot dogs. Have them for dinner. They're
Put them in
like
spaghetti.
sauerkraut or something.
Put them in spaghetti. Yeah.
Put them in
Yeah,
spaghetti.
put them in your mac and cheese. There you go.
Were you guys
They
the
should
type of
go.
kids who did that? Who did like macaroni and hot dogs in your mac and cheese?
Everyone was.
Okay, no,
We
I
never had
didn't.
macaroni and cheese growing up, but
Oh,
in
okay.
spaghetti, yes.
See, my thing is like I probably would have liked it more, but we had like those stupid hot lunches at school, and they did the mac and cheese with hot dog on it. And it was the most disgusting shit, but that's because the mac and cheese was so fucking bad that
For the longest
it's
time, the
like
only
turned me
type of
on. I
mac
can't
and
eat mac and cheese with hot dogs in it because that's all it makes me think of, and it's nasty as fuck.
for a long time, the only mac and cheese I've had was like the Kraft KD mac and cheese or whatever.
Mm.
Uh, I don't think I've actually had like real mac and cheese until like 3 years ago, something like that. It's
See,
alright.
this mac and cheese was even worse than fucking KD mac and cheese. That's how bad it was.
I just feel like mac and cheese in general is a little overrated.
I like mac. No, if you have like good
I
fresh, like someone makes you
I
mac and
do,
cheese.
but like for
My
the price
mom makes a
point,
mean fucking
maybe
mac and cheese.
maybe I just would be going because like all those goddamn mac and cheese food trucks are not worth the price remotely.
Bro,
To be
why
quite honest.
do they need a food truck for mac and cheese? It's
Yeah,
literally one of the easiest things to make.
yeah. $12 for like a half a cup of mac and cheese.
You
No.
got the fucking KD, you got the hot dogs, you're set.
The best mac and cheese I've ever had is mac and cheese that I made, which is to show you the mac and cheese is not a thing that you get at restaurants.
Mm.
Bro, you can't just fucking sell mac and cheese out of a converted van and
Mm-mm.
call it fucking a food truck that serves comfort food.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort. The most overused words for food trucks. Comfort food.
Comfort food. Like I could see if you got like some like sort of roast beef sandwich or I don't know, any sort of like other like comfort food, but like mac and cheese, really? That's just kind of lazy.
My definition of comfort food is something that makes you comfortable, and overpriced shit is not comfortable. As
True.
soon as you overprice something, it's not comfort food anymore. It's
That's what I'm
overcharged.
saying.
What's comfortable about this? What's comfortable about my pockets hurting? Of me eating 2 bites and then being like, wow, that was $12 gone down the drain.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's like everything at the night market.
Yeah, nothing about that is comfortable.
I hate
Comfortable.
it. That's why I didn't go this year. It's not. It's just not worth it. It's become so overpriced. I
But
hate it
people are
there.
gonna still go. That's the thing.
Oh
They're
yeah,
never
people
gonna.
always.
They're never gonna real. They're gonna keep raising prices as long as people keep going.
I wonder if a lot of people, other people, like stop going just because how like overinflated the prices
No,
have
people
gotten.
don't care.
Because they didn't do
Our
it for 2 years.
generation, people our age, don't care about money.
Okay, I'm open game. Oops.
People go out and drink and have like 3 drinks at a bar, and then they have a tab that's $50, and they're all right with that. So of course they're going to the night market.
Bars and clubs, the biggest fucking scam, bro, on drinks.
See, is it a BC thing? Isn't BC just really bad for how they handle like
Is
uh
it?
uh yeah, drinks and stuff? Like there's because wherever you go, there's gonna be a certain limit of how much they can charge for what kind of alcohol and everything. I think BC is supposed to be pretty bad with it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a limit, maybe like a limit on how little you can charge, but I don't know if there's a
Yeah,
cap on
yeah.
how much you
No,
charge.
yeah, that's something like for how much? What's the minimum you can charge for this amount of
Oh,
liquor?
our minimum is really high. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Dang, that's fucked. Well,
I mean, in Quebec they have bring your own wine restaurants because I think wine like in restaurants there is taxed something like 50%, or not just wine, just alcohol in general in restaurants in Quebec.
oh,
Something like that. It's a really high rate, so most people or most restaurants don't even bother like having alcohol in the menus
Right.
because it's
Just
like
to that
people
amount
aren't
you
gonna buy
calculate.
it because it's
Yeah,
like 50% more expensive.
yeah.
I just
There's certain things like restaurants I can justify maybe a pricey, you know, uh, price tag on things.
yeah.
Some things I don't. One of those things is movie theaters. I wholeheartedly believe if movie theaters just either lower the price on concession stuff or allow you to bring in your own shit without having to sneak it in, they would probably be doing better.
Probably. I mean, everyone sneaks shit in anyway.
Yeah, but it's just like, man, movies are expensive here for no
Is it
fucking
just
reason.
here? Is that everywhere though? What are you
It
guys
depends on where
like?
you're at.
Is it?
Uh,
Oh.
yeah. So like, I mean, it's not like a arm and a leg difference, but I know even like here, our movie tickets are like $2-3 more than the other side of Canada,
Oh,
right?
dang.
Um, and I mean, it always depends on like property prices and stuff like that for the theaters to stay open, this and that, and taxes and all that. So it's gonna change from wherever you go.
Shit.
But I hear like I follow creators or like content creators in like America and shit, and they're always going to the movies. I'm like, you can't do this over here.
Yeah, right? Okay, so maybe
Once upon a time,
Vancouver is
Canada.
just like the most fucking expensive place to do anything ever, though.
I remember as kids, my dad would take us to the movies, and then take like my cousins and stuff, and then eventually it's just like him taking like 8 kids and paying for everything, and he could do that. You can't do that today.
I'm moving to fucking Alberta, bro. I don't care. I just want to like buy a house, okay? You can't buy
I
a house.
just want to take 8 kids to the movies,
Yeah,
like
right?
family members, not just random kids.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
That's good.
I just
But
want to take my
like,
cousins to the movies and being able to
honestly,
pay for it and like not have to like sell my body for it. But
growing up in Vancouver right now is shit because like you can't afford to buy anything. You don't even think about moving out because there's no shot. Like it's you're done for, and like you can't do anything. You can't have any fun things. You can't do any like movies are expensive. Food is expensive. Everything's expensive. You can't afford to live out
You can
here.
buy a van and you can go sleep in it down by the river.
and then get mugged.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was.
How you gonna get
Oh,
mugged when you're in
mosquitoes
your
back.
van?
They're gonna break into your van.
How are they gonna break in when you're in there?
You think
Big
that?
rock.
Okay, to be fair, that happened to my cousin where she was like driving across. I don't remember where she was. I think she was out in Chilliwack because she was driving from like Vancouver to Alberta, and she like I don't know, stopped somewhere in like Abbotsford or Chilliwack, and she like fell asleep on the side of the road. And when she woke up, there was a guy just in her van like stealing her shit.
Oh,
Yeah, and she woke up and like the guy was like trying to grab her phone, and then he just like jumped out and like left.
it was bold.
Yeah, vans and like semi trucks are like known for getting breaking and stuff.
Yeah,
Depending
but
on like what area you're at.
that's why you just keep the heater with you and they trying to break in. You just let it bang.
Damn.
Yeah.
But then like before you gotta do it, you gotta be like remember like where you're at, like what state or province, and then read the rules and the laws, and then by the time you're like,
Not
okay,
because you
time to
live in a
back up, check
van. No
then.
one knows you're there and no one knows you're coming or going. So how are they gonna trace it back to you?
What are you gonna do with the body?
You leave it. You think dead people don't show up on the side of the road every now and again?
That's true. You gotta toss that burner into the ocean or some shit. to
Stop
like.
talking
Although
about
I don't
committing
think
crimes
someone's
on
just gonna
stream.
break in if you're in there. Like probably, you know,
I
to
don't.
get
As a
a good
kid,
lock or something.
I don't watch too
Get
many
a dog.
monsters. Yeah, get dog. As a kid, I watched too many damn lobster movies and like like Italian mobsters and stuff like
I
that.
thought you said
That like,
lobster movies. I was so confused for a
except for
second
The
there.
Lobster is a great movie.
The Lobster was a really good movie. If
Yeah, I
anyone
watched The
hasn't watched
Lobster.
The Lobster, that's actually a really
I
good movie.
don't think the Italian mafia is really going around breaking into homeless
No,
people's
no, no.
vans.
But they would whack motherfuckers, and then they would always be like, "All right, we gotta go toss the burner over into the lake or whatever." And like, there's always a specific walk that they do, and maybe it's just Scorsese movies, but they have like their hands like in their pockets, clenched up onto like their private parts, and like they're like doing like an Incredible Hulk stance with like in their jacket, and then they walk like really mean, like young NBA young boy over to the bridge, and then just toss it and then run. And as a kid, I used to practice that because I'm like, one day I'm gonna have to do this. Never
Yeah.
happened. Never had to do it.
Not yet. Not yet. You haven't.
No.
We'll get there.
Hopefully never. I'm a pacifist now, so if it was gonna happen, it would have happened. But I war no more. I don't fight anymore.
You don't fight no more. Now that you're 22, you're growing out of that phase in your life.
I'm a pacifist. No more fighting.
Dang.
Unless a whole tribe tries me, then yeah. But other than that, no more fighting.
Dang.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen.
We're gonna make it happen. I'm gonna put Brams in a situation just to force him to fight. I want him to get his mafia moment.
You want me to kill him, man?
I want you to have your childhood dream come true.
It was never a dream. It was a lifestyle.
It was a dream, wasn't it? It was a dream. You don't talk about it like that unless it's the dream, Rams. And
No.
I am here to make dreams come true.
I never chose Thug Life. Thug Life chose me.
It was all a dream.
Woke up reading Word Up magazine.
Damn. Anyway, y'all see Jordan Peterson's fucking wilding on Twitter again?
I keep hearing this name, Jordan Peterson.
This
I
man
mean, I
is...
think the only time he stopped wilding was when he was in his Russian meat coma.
Bro, this man like literally keeps saying, he's like, I'm going off Twitter, it's the most toxic place, and then like for the next 6 hours straight, he's like posting. Oh yeah, he called veganism authoritarian now. That was his new one.
Damn. He looks like a Tim Burton villain.
Oh, he definitely could be.
You kind of do. I keep hitting this light.
He acts like it too, to be honest.
Why are you so angry in most of these photos? He's either very like uninterested or angry. That's his two photographic poses.
So eating all red meat does to you.
Damn, all he eats is red meat. He's gonna die soon.
I don't know. I know he's on an all meat diet. I don't know if it's specifically all red meat, but I think
I fucked
something
it.
like that.
This man not dead. He's just eating red meat.
How did I fuck this up?
Also, how do people?
I
eat
destroyed
so
the
much-
colors.
You fucked up the dinosaur.
I fucked it up. I lost the colors. I lost the colors on my dinosaur.
Is this what happens when dinosaurs get depressed? They lose their color.
Okay, wait. Turn it off. Turn it back on.
I don't understand how people eat so much red meat. Isn't
Yeah.
it tiring? Like
You know,
red meat makes me tired.
Yeah, I also get
some
that.
people like that.
Like, how do people like? Okay, you know what I don't understand? The people who like think eating meat is manly, and then like if you don't eat meat, you're not manly. I don't understand. Where did that like stereotype come from? Where did it come from? Like,
Meatheads.
If you don't eat
Liver
meat,
King,
like,
Joe Rogan.
but like it's like this whole thing of like I wouldn't let my woman cook me vegetarian. Like this used to be even like back in like the 60s, 80s and stuff. Like even like back in times where like sexism was bred. But
Well, I
it's
mean, I
like,
guess hunter-gatherer hunters will hunt animals, eat meat, and now people love to glorify them eating meat that they bought from the supermarket that was like, from an animal raised on a farm and mass-produced. They call that manly. When it's like,
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess it just seems like the
Yeah.
weirdest thing to like hyper masculinize like eating meat. Like out of all of the weird sexist tropes we've created in our society, why
I'm
is
gonna
that one
tell
of them?
you what, that's probably pretty low on the list that have been like hyper masculinized or
I mean, it is, but it's just like one of the weirder ones.
now people definitely do masculine like meat and shit and like fucking do you know that dude who's
I
on
don't know. I
Instagram
mean,
and shit? That's always like, he's the bald dude that talks about being rich and how people should be rich and stuff like that, and how he like
Oh,
hates.
yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like I don't know if he's satire. I still don't know if he's satire
I
or
don't
not.
think he is. I think he's legit. I think he actually thinks like that.
'Cause he was like, "Oh, I can't be eating sushi, but you're using chopsticks like a little pussy. Ooh, I need red meat." And then it's like he's like
Wait,
those type
oh,
of
I missed that.
things.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is satire or not.
Maybe we're not thinking the same guy, but if that's the same guy, that's wild.
Something Tate is his name, but yeah, I don't know. I hate satire these days, man, because everybody wants to do satire, and that now we don't know who's actually using satire or not.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson called vegan diets vegetarian fascists. I don't know what this man is on that he's like people advocating for veganism because it's probably better for the environment and better for animals and like ethically. I'm not even vegetarian. And I can still admit, like, yeah, it's better for the planet and it's better for animals. I try to cut back on red meat because it's like, it's good for your health and it's good for the
Yeah.
planet. But like, this man is out here calling them fucking fascists.
Well-
Everything is fascism these days to everyone. It's like, oh, you do something I disagree with, it's fascism. Like, that is where we're at with it. And I hate it here. I hate it here.
Eating less meat is better for the environment. Veganism isn't the answer though to that.
Yeah, it doesn't even necessarily need to be veganism. It's just like everyone, even if you cut, like if you're someone who eats meat at every meal, cut meat out of like 1 or 2 of your meals a day.
Because
You'll like,
veganism does have some like bad effects on the environment or whatever
sure.
that everyone get talking about. But like, yeah, you should cut down on meat and stuff. Especially
Yeah, there's like 100 things you could do
yeah,
because
I
like,
could really go for some short rib right now, though.
Mhm. I'm thinking about the Costco hot dogs right now.
oh, we should just do a hot dog party at Ram's house. That sounded
I mean,
weird.
I don't think Costco hot
That's-
dogs are red meat.
We just do a barbecue. That's
Yeah,
fine.
not a hot dog party. That sounds like a whole other thing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, veganism, cool. I just hate motherfuckers who are like so extreme with it. Of like, oh, you eat meat, you're killing animals and shit.
Yeah, vegans,
When in fact,
it's like,
while they're making TikToks about it on their iPhone, that like probably 3 kids in China died for. Like,
literally. Well, that's the thing is like vegans like, yo, can I get VIP? What the fuck, life of a stranger? What the fuck you mean VIP? Anyway, yeah, but like I think anyone who's extreme because like it's not that every vegan is like that. It just so happens that like more
But it's
often
extreme
than not,
like
like there's just more happens to be more people that are like that are vegan. Like, not I've met vegans who are super chill, but like 90% of vegans you meet are like, okay, I don't want to hang out with you because you're kind of a bitch to be around
if
for
you
like
choose
any.
to personally go a vegan lifestyle, cool. But if you dare criticize someone for eating meat, it's just like
Now you're just being like a
opens up whole
shithead.
can of worms that you don't want to deal with.
It's like, okay, fine. Are you going to give up every single thing that like uses child exploitation, or do you just care about like? Because if you're telling me you care about people suffer, like animal suffering and stuff, and be like, oh, we should take animal suffering and it's as important as human suffering, then you can't be using anything that uses human suffering. Because if you're going to go so hard against people who like engage in like who aren't vegan, then I'm going to rail against you and be like, well, you use an iPhone, so like you obviously don't care about like human suffering, right? Or like if you use
like-
anything, like if you even if you like literally anything you use is going to have some level of like human exploitation, especially if it comes from like any parts of it come from the third world. You're always going to be engaging in like some type of unethical practice.
It's like all these damn like crystals and astronomy people who shit on religion. It's
Yeah.
like where were you better?
Pot calling the kettle black kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
think
yeah.
it's such a big thing right now. Oh, like being calling out religion and then being like, but the moon is at the east, this and that, and it's just like, what the fuck?
The only thing I like better about those like crystal things is like it's not as like strict. Like you can't like if you're like a crystal bitch, like no one's telling you that you have to be homophobic. You know what I mean?
But they still choose to be sometimes.
Sometimes it does happen. However, it's like I like things that don't tell you exactly have to like doesn't give you a prescription for life. I think that's like a little bit better, but like those people are still fucking crazy in the way that they behave and act.
In paper, maybe it's better, but I'd still rather deal with a like racist religious person than a than a crystal person. Because they will just be like,
Oh.
the racist person will like, you know, not trying to hide it or just like whatever. They'll just be racist, you know. It is, but the Christian will just be like, oh, you're a fucking Leo. You deserve death right now. And shit like that.
Kind of true, but I also say that about Geminis because I hate all Geminis. So I don't believe in the astrology shit, but the one astrology piece that I believe in is like every Gemini I've met is a bitch and a half. Sorry. If you're a Gemini, don't ever talk to me again.
Damn. I'm not taking you to the Kendrick concert then.
Why?
Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini.
How do you know he's a Gemini?
You asked about it.
Damn, he a little
He had a
bitch.
clever. Well, he had a clever. He had in like a clever way. You asked about it.
I don't know. I've just never met a good Gemini, okay? Geminis all suck. I've never met a good one. Like, it's like one of those things, like astrology, it's like, oh, it's fine.
What
It's a
is
bunch of whack
Gemini?
shit.
Gemini?
But like, Geminis, okay. Nah. If I know you're Gemini, it's like you're like down my list of friendship.
Gemini.
Two-faced.
What?
They're all two-faced. But yeah, I don't know.
May
I feel like I could
21st,
deal with
June
like crystal
21st.
people, but it depends because like people with, like, who are like crystal people or astrology people will blame their like behavior and attitudes and like shit they do on like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Um, they'll like they'll blame all their behaviors on like their crystals and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, sorry, the moon is in like Virgo rising, so like I'm being a little bit of a bitch, and it's like, no, shut the fuck
Yeah,
up. You're
they'll
being a
murder
bitch.
someone and be like,
If you
why'd
blame
murder them?
your
I'm a
attitude,
Gemini. No,
if
doesn't
you
work
blame like
that.
shit you're doing on like your astrology sign or whatever, like I'm actually gonna hurt you in a
Yeah.
video game. But yeah, it's one of
I'll
those
hurt you
things.
in real life.
Oh,
You can't say
I
them
thought
on
you were a
stream.
pacifist.
Okay, fine. In real life Minecraft.
Speaking of Minecraft, are we starting up another server? Are we doing that? Is that a thing?
We should. Are we gonna
Don't
make?
worry.
Are we gonna wait for Max to do it, or are we just gonna do it ourselves?
No, we'll wait for him to do it. We're all too lazy. Let's be honest. None of us are gonna fucking do it.
I mean, we can see if Stefan will do it.
Then I actually have something to do on
Sometimes
stream when I'm alone because I don't play any other games alone. But I can play Minecraft while I do stuff. That's how I started my stream when we first started streaming, or when I first started streaming. We saw that Minecraft server, the last one. Like some of my only clips are like from that first like time we streamed, and it was like me killing Feedy and Sterling. That was like the funniest clip. I still have those on my TikTok. But yeah, I don't know. Minecraft gives you some funny clips.
Yeah.
I just spend the whole time playing Minecraft though, where I'm just going around killing people. Last time I
Yeah.
actually did something though.
Some of us actually build. Some of us don't.
I built stuff myself, at least. Rams.
I built most of my stuff alone.
None of your stuff, like, yeah, all the base shit, like all your like actual like building stuff, but none of your supplies.
All the important things I make myself. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're doing another like modded server though. Maybe we will. Either way. Anyway, it is almost 1 a.m. I'm a little bit tired. I could keep streaming for a little bit, but I don't know if there's anything else I want to super cover tonight. I might actually just stream again tomorrow and pick up more topics because I thought the legal stuff was going to take longer, but it's...
There was something I was gonna ask you. I just
Oh,
did
yeah.
not remember. I saw a video, but I don't remember.
I think I'll pick up more stuff for tomorrow because I thought the legal stuff was actually going to be a lot longer because I thought they were like actually voting on some stuff. But it seems like they haven't, so it didn't take as long as I thought it would. And then even the second conversation was actually kind of shorter than I thought it would be. So I don't know what else I want to cover tonight, unless there's anything people in chat want me to talk about. I might
There was
wrap
something
up soon.
about white people.
There's something about white people.
Yeah. Yeah. No offense, like Will and his people. Oh. Okay, Canada white people.
What the fuck?
Give me 2 seconds. I'll find it.
Bro? Someone clip that shit, please. That was funny. I don't know how to make clips, though.
News.
Oh my god.
There's something about like a survey done where a certain percent of white people believe that immigrants are taking over some shit.
Even in Canada, is that a thing?
It was in Canada. It was a survey done in Canada.
That's kind of shocking because usually Canada's more open to immigration, but I guess like maybe a lot of like the middle provinces and stuff maybe are
Yeah,
like
they don't really got us over there.
because BC's got a shit ton of immigrants. Like we take a lot of
Something about
refugees and
like
immigrants.
melanin just stayed towards the coast.
Well, because
You
like
know?
usually cities usually are more progressive and it's easier to
Yeah.
integrate into them, so a lot of people immigrated there. Um, but that's like most of like even in the states that's happened, right? Or
Yeah.
it's just big cities because like all of our big cities are on the coast, so it's like happens like big cities is usually where people immigrate to because you want to go for opportunity and stuff. You're not going to move to like the fucking Midwest for opportunities. Um,
But I want to talk about because specifically because they had like
I
a
move this
I
way
can't
so
I can't remember the
sit.
percentage of
Oh yeah,
people
look at that! I can actually
that thought
sit.
this. But I think they did a survey with a group of I think 1,500 people, something like that, and I wanted to see like what your thoughts were because like I don't think they ever specified like where they found these people, right? Because I believe
Uh,
yeah, depending on where in Canada you do the survey, it'll be
yeah,
different. If you did just a widespread and then had like an equal amount of like from every
coasters
province,
and
whatever,
middlers.
yeah,
Oh,
then I can see it being more of an accurate statement. But fuck, I want to find it. Where is it? You could probably
let's see if
just
we can find it.
Google it. Yeah,
Canada
I just
immigration
I don't know. For some reason,
survey.
just typing in Canada, white people did not bring it up. But I know we can find it somewhere.
Mm, these are from 2021. Was this recent?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember how high it was when I saw this. That's why it's foggy.
Let's see. This one says Canadians remain largely supportive of immigration. New survey finds the majority of Canadians support current immigration levels, believe that immigrants are beneficial for the economy and play an important role. Despite the pandemic, majority of Canadians continue to hold positive views on. Oh, let me actually pull this up on stream. Oh, let me move it to this side again. Let's see. This is like an older study. The Environics Institute conducted a telephone interview with 2,000 Canadians between September 7th and 23rd. According to the findings, well, that makes it hard because they didn't. It doesn't seem like they're getting any details on how they like surveyed people or like how they like chose survey candidates. But okay. According to the findings of the public opinion research, oh god, views on immigration remain steady. A clear majority supports current levels of immigration, views as immigrants as good for the economy. Most disagree with that statement. Okay. Just over half the Conservative Party Canada supporters think immigration levels are adequate. So that's like even pretty good, even for like even the Conservative Party is like over 50%. Bloc Québécois supporters are more likely than last year to endorse current immigration levels at 70%. Dang. So yeah, this seems okay, but I don't know if there's a newer study that says something else, especially post-pandemic. Maybe it was a little bit different. I don't know. It's hard to say. Anyway, maybe we'll try to find that study for tomorrow's stream, and I will try to find more topics for tomorrow's stream. I don't think I was working today,
I
and I
think
didn't pull up that many ideas or anything, but I think
I
I'll
think the
try to stream.
server was somebody that with like replacement theory and stuff like that. I can't remember now. I was in a
Oh, great
different state.
replacement theory stuff. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. That could be a fun. Um,
But yeah, again, I was in a different state, so I don't remember 100%.
Understandable.
I was like, oh, that was a really cool thing to talk about.
Theory, Canada, immigration survey.
But yeah, maybe cover it tomorrow.
Because that is actually stuff that's super interesting. Oh, racist great replacement theory circulating Canada. Found audience in Canada. Maybe these are things we'll go over and stream tomorrow because I would like to read these articles.
Be fine.
because the great replacement theory stuff is really crazy to me. Just because fuck. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the theory that white people are like being systematically replaced in North America or in like European or in white countries.
Western culture.
Well, Western cultures, Western countries, so anywhere like in Europe or especially it's gained a lot of traction mostly in the US and now a bit in Canada. But the idea that like we are replacing white people or trying to get rid of white people and that there's like an actual concerted like effort that like people are making like a real effort to like actually get rid of white people. And it usually comes with also like the J question, like the JQ question, whatever it is. And people think that it's like actually being pushed by Jewish people, and that Jewish people are like controlling everything and getting more immigration to replace white people. So it's a whole like host of theories all kind of together. But that's what great replacement is, and it's a fucked theory. It's so stupid too. Like what a dumb theory. But if that has to do with the immigration statistics, that would be really interesting to look at, but I think that'll probably be, again, for stream tomorrow, because I've been streaming for a couple hours. I wish I would do longer streams, but I'm lazy, and I don't start early enough because everyone's still up in my house, and if I start streaming when people are awake, then they come into my room while I'm streaming, and I have to, like, shut everything down for a minute.
William.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finna replace you.
Why?
I'm taking your job.
Taking his job,
Why?
It's mine now.
the Jewish
You
people
can have it. I don't
enrolled
really
him.
want it.
Damn. It's no fun when you just give it up.
It's not really that much of a coveted job.
Yeah, it's true. You can keep it.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right, guys. I think that's it for today's stream. Thank you for hanging out. It's now 1 a.m., so I think I'm gonna like roll into bed. But we'll maybe cover the great replacement stuff tomorrow on stream to see. I'll see if I can find any interesting articles on it. I have a Discord linked below. Please go join that. If you want to suggest topics for future streams, you can do it there. My Discord's always open. I will chat with people in there. It's a fun time. I try to get topics from you guys if you guys want like to hear my opinions on either current events, current news stories, bills, legislation. I like to do a lot of legal stuff, so you can always send me stuff there for future streams that you want me to cover. Or just come hang out, chat, have debates. I like to debate. If you ever want to come on to debate me on some of my views, you can also hit me up on my Discord, and that's probably the best place to do it. But yeah, I'm wrapping up for tonight. Thanks everyone for hanging out and chatting and being here. And yeah, thanks. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow night. Bye.
Oh, yeah.